It was a crisp autumn afternoon in Palo Alto. The sun was beginning to dip behind the hills, casting long shadows over the sprawling Tesla campus. Elon Musk stood at the window of his office, looking out at the vast expanse of the parking lot below, where rows upon rows of shiny Teslas gleamed in the soft light. There was a hum of activity in the air, as engineers and designers scurried about, each working on their part of the next big thing in the electric vehicle revolution. But today, something felt different. Something was off. Musk had just returned from a meeting in Detroit, a city that had been the heart of the American auto industry for decades. He had met with Ford executives, and though the meeting had been cordial, he couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more to the conversation. As the meeting had gone on, he had noticed a pattern. Ford was doing more than just trying to keep up with Tesla. They were moving aggressively. And one of their engineers had caught his attention, a former Tesla employee, someone Musk had personally mentored. Someone who had played a key role in some of Tesla's most innovative projects. That person was Alex Parker. Musk's mind raced as he recalled the last time he had seen Alex. It had been over a year ago at a company retreat, where Alex had been one of the rising stars of the Tesla engineering team. Brilliant, dedicated, and a force to be reckoned with, Alex had shown immense promise. But then, without warning, he had left Tesla. There was no grand farewell, no explanation. Just an email to HR, stating he was moving on to new opportunities. And now, Alex Parker was working for Ford. Elon sat down at his desk, his fingers running over the smooth surface. He had always prided himself on the culture he had built at Tesla, the innovation, the risk-taking, the hunger for progress. It had been a driving force behind the company's success, and it was why Tesla had become synonymous with the future of transportation. But this was different. Alex's departure had never fully made sense to him. Tesla had been his home, a place where he could push boundaries. So why would he leave? What had driven him to Ford, of all places? Before he could dwell on it any longer, his phone buzzed, snapping him back to the present. It was a message from his assistant, reminding him of his next meeting. But Musk wasn't in the mood for another corporate chat. He wanted answers. He stood up, grabbed his jacket, and left his office. His mind was already racing ahead, envisioning the conversation he was about to have. The drive to the small coffee shop where he had arranged to meet Alex was quick, but it felt like time was dragging. Musk's thoughts swirled with possibilities. Had something happened at Tesla that pushed Alex away? Was Ford's offer just too good to pass up? Or was there something more personal involved? As he pulled into the parking lot, he spotted Alex immediately. He was sitting at a corner table, his back to the window, looking out at the passing cars. Alex hadn't changed much since the last time Musk had seen him, still wearing that same rugged jacket and slightly rumpled jeans, but there was a weariness in his eyes that hadn't been there before. Elon walked up to the table, and Alex looked up. Their eyes met, and for a brief moment, neither of them spoke. The tension was palpable. "Alex," Musk said, breaking the silence. "It's good to see you." Alex gave a small, strained smile. "You too, Elon. I didn't expect this." Elon took a seat across from him, leaning forward, his elbows resting on the table. "Neither did I. But here we are." The air between them was thick with unspoken questions. Elon wasn't one for small talk, and he could tell that Alex wasn't either. "I have to ask," Elon began, his voice steady but with a hint of urgency, "why Ford? Why leave Tesla?" Alex hesitated for a moment, as if weighing his words carefully. Then, he took a deep breath and said, "It wasn't an easy decision. I didn't just leave Tesla for Ford. I left because I felt like I wasn't growing anymore. I loved the work we did at Tesla. The mission, the vision, everything. But after a while, it felt like we were stuck. I couldn't shake the feeling that we were just going through the motions. It wasn't the same as when I first joined." Musk was taken aback by his words. You were one of the most promising engineers at Tesla, Alex. You were at the forefront of some of our biggest innovations. What do you mean, stuck? Alex ran a hand through his hair, clearly uncomfortable with the direction the conversation was taking. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I started feeling like the creative freedom was slipping away. Every time I pitched an idea, it felt like it was shot down before it had a chance. And the pressure it was a lot. Sometimes it felt like we were so focused on keeping up with the competition, we forgot why we were doing this in the first place. Elon sat back in his chair, absorbing what Alex had said. He had always prided himself on being a visionary, someone who saw the bigger picture. But hearing Alex's perspective made him question whether Tesla had become too focused on perfection, too consumed by the business side of things, to nurture the very thing that had made it great, the people. I didn't realize it had gotten like that, Elon said quietly, his tone tinged with regret. I thought we were building something more than just a company. I thought we were changing the world. Alex's gaze softened. We were, Elon. And we still are. But sometimes, even the best teams lose sight of the bigger picture. It's easy to get lost in the day-to-day grind. There was a long silence between them as Musk processed everything Alex had shared. This wasn't just about a job switch. It was about something deeper, something that Musk had been too focused on his own goals to see. Are you happy at Ford? Musk asked finally. Alex's eyes flickered with something that might have been hope, or maybe just a fleeting sense of possibility. I'm still figuring that out. But it's a new start. And that's what I needed. Elon leaned forward again, his eyes locking with Alex's. What if I told you that Tesla could offer you that new start? That we could find a way to make it work, together. Alex looked at him, a mixture of surprise and skepticism on his face. What do you mean? I mean, if you feel like you're not growing at Tesla, then I'm going to make sure you have every opportunity to do so. I'm not ready to let go of the people who made this company what it is. And I don't want you to feel like you've outgrown it. Alex was silent for a long moment, weighing Musk's words carefully. I don't know, Elon. I need time to think. Elon nodded. Take all the time you need. But just know this, we need you. More than you know. The weight of the conversation hung in the air as both men sat in quiet contemplation. There was no immediate answer, no quick fix. But for the first time in a long while, Musk felt a spark of hope. Maybe this unexpected meeting wasn't just about fixing Tesla's future. Maybe it was about fixing something far more personal, something that could inspire a whole new chapter in the company's story. Think about it, Elon said, standing up to leave. And when you're ready, let's talk about what comes next. As Musk walked out of the coffee shop, he couldn't help but wonder if this was the turning point he'd been waiting for, if Alex Parker's departure, and the subsequent reunion, was the spark that would reignite Tesla's creative fire. The next steps wouldn't be easy, but one thing was certain, the journey was just beginning. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? The following days felt like a whirlwind for Alex Parker. After his encounter with Elon Musk, he couldn't shake the conversation from his mind. There was a part of him that felt conflicted, torn between the familiarity of Ford and the daring, unpredictable world of Tesla. He had spent years at Tesla, part of the team that had brought some of the company's most ambitious projects to life. The Model 3, the Roadster, and the expansion of solar energy initiatives had been among his proudest achievements. But there was a point when the sparkle of innovation began to fade. His contributions, no matter how groundbreaking, seemed to fall into the shadow of something bigger. The company's relentless push to meet the demands of the stock market, the board, and even the public, started to eat away at the very thing he had once loved, the creative freedom to build. When Alex left Tesla, it wasn't out of a desire to abandon the mission. He believed in the work they were doing, in making the world a more sustainable place. But it became increasingly clear that the environment at Tesla had shifted. As Elon Musk's focus grew more fragmented, from SpaceX to the Boring Company, Tesla began to feel more like a machine, where every project was just a cog in a never-ending race against time and competition. And so, he found himself at Ford. Ford had offered him something that Tesla hadn't: stability. The established corporate structure, a predictable environment, and the allure of working with a company that had been around for over a century. They valued experience, and they didn't expect him to constantly push boundaries. It was a comfortable place for someone who, at the time, needed a break from the high-stakes intensity of Tesla. But that conversation with Musk had shaken him. Alex sat on the balcony of his apartment, looking out at the city below. The golden light of the setting sun bathed the skyline, but it did little to ease the internal struggle brewing in his chest. Was he making a mistake? He had left Tesla, seeking peace and simplicity. But the moment Elon Musk had walked into that coffee shop, Alex realized how much of his heart was still tied to the mission that Tesla represented. The very reason he had joined Tesla all those years ago, to change the world, had never truly left him. Working at Ford wasn't a failure, but it wasn't the challenge he had once craved. It wasn't the place that could reignite his passion for creating something truly revolutionary. He picked up his phone and scrolled through old photos of his time at Tesla, late nights in the lab, test drives of prototype cars, team meetings filled with brainstorming sessions that often ran into the early hours of the morning. His mind went back to the thrill of innovation, the camaraderie among the team, and most of all, the sense that every day was a chance to make a tangible difference. Ford was good. But Tesla? Tesla had been special. Alex's phone buzzed, interrupting his thoughts. It was a message from Jane, his former colleague at Ford, the one who had convinced him to make the move in the first place. "How's it going? Still thinking about that Tesla offer?" Alex stared at the message for a long moment. Jane had been supportive of his decision to join Ford, but there was always a part of her that had questioned whether it was the right move. She knew how much Tesla had meant to him, and she could sense that Alex had left behind something irreplaceable. He replied, "Yeah. Actually, I've been doing a lot of thinking. I think I need to meet with Musk again." He sent the message, sat back in his chair, and took a deep breath. He wasn't sure what would come out of that meeting, but one thing was certain: he couldn't move forward in life without making peace with the part of him that was still tied to Tesla. The next day, Alex arranged to meet Elon again, this time at Tesla's headquarters. The campus had always felt like a second home, a place where the lines between work and passion blurred. The large glass buildings and sleek, modern designs reflected the company's ethos: forward-thinking, ambitious, and unafraid of taking risks. Elon was already in his office when Alex arrived. There was no small talk this time. The moment Alex walked through the door, Elon stood up and motioned to the chair across from his desk. "Thanks for coming, Alex," Musk said, a note of seriousness in his voice. Alex sat down, the weight of the moment sinking in. "You wanted to talk." "I did. You left for Ford, and now you're thinking about coming back. What changed?" Elon asked, his tone direct. Alex hesitated before answering. "I thought I needed a break, but the truth is, I missed the challenge here. I missed the feeling that what I'm doing actually matters. I left because I thought I wanted stability. But stability doesn't excite me. And I'm not sure Ford can offer me the kind of impact I want to make." Musk leaned forward, his eyes sharp. "And what kind of impact are you looking for?" "I want to be part of something that's going to change the world. Not just for the sake of innovation, but because it's necessary. The auto industry, the world in general, they need more than just incremental improvements. We need breakthroughs. And I believe Tesla can still lead that charge. I wasn't sure if it could happen here anymore." There was a pause, a moment where Alex wasn't sure if Musk was going to brush him off or offer him a second chance. But then, Elon spoke. "Tesla is changing, Alex. I won't deny that. But we can still make it work. I've been thinking about how to bring back that sense of creative freedom. How to let people like you lead the way again. Alex's heart raced. What are you saying? I'm saying we can rebuild, but this time, it's not just about creating new cars. We need to create the future. The next big thing. And I want you to help lead it. Elon stood up and walked toward the window, staring out at the horizon, deep in thought. This isn't going to be easy. It's going to take a lot of risk, a lot of commitment, and a hell of a lot of work. But if you're in, Alex, then let's make it happen. Alex stood up, too, a sense of resolve solidifying inside him. This was the moment he had been waiting for. I'm in, he said, the words coming out with a confidence he hadn't felt in months. Later that night, Alex sat alone in his apartment, staring out at the same city skyline. A new chapter was unfolding. There were still risks ahead, and the path would be filled with challenges, but Alex knew one thing for sure, he was ready. Ready to return to Tesla. Ready to face the unknown. And most of all, ready to change the world again. Alex Parker's heart raced as he drove through the familiar gates of Tesla's Palo Alto headquarters. The security guard waved him through without a second glance, as though nothing had changed since he left. But everything had changed. For him, at least. As the car rolled up to the parking lot, Alex's eyes scanned the space, noting the sleek, shiny Teslas parked neatly in rows. There was something comforting about the sight, the machines that had been born from countless hours of blood, sweat, and engineering brilliance. He had been part of that, once. And now, he was returning to it. It was hard to explain why leaving had been so difficult for him. It wasn't just the job. It wasn't the perks or the prestige. It was the feeling of being part of something monumental, something that had the power to alter the course of history. The work they did here wasn't just about making cars. It was about shaping the future, disrupting industries, and challenging the very foundations of society. As Alex walked through the familiar lobby, a few faces turned his way. Some smiled and waved. A few offered nods of recognition. The place had changed in subtle ways, more people, more hustle, but the energy was still the same. It felt electric, like the hum of a well-oiled machine, waiting for its next big breakthrough. When he stepped into the elevator, Alex couldn't help but notice how much time had passed. The last time he'd ridden in this elevator, he had been full of optimism, eager to take on whatever challenges awaited. Now, he felt a weight pressing on him. The expectations, the promises he had made to himself, to Elon, to the team, it all felt heavier than he had anticipated. The doors opened to the floor that housed the engineering team, and the familiar sounds of intense conversation and clattering keyboards greeted him. But this time, Alex wasn't just another engineer here to work on the next big project. He was back with a purpose, to lead. Hey, Alex. A voice broke him from his thoughts, and he turned to see Claire, one of the senior engineers who had been part of his team before he left. Her face lit up as she walked over to him. Claire. It's good to see you, Alex said, his smile genuine. He'd missed the camaraderie of working with people who shared the same drive, the same passion for progress. I can't believe you're back. Claire exclaimed. Everyone's been talking about it. Elon told us you were coming back, but hearing it from you is even better. Alex nodded. Yeah, it's been a weird couple of months. But I'm here now, and I'm ready to get to work. Claire's eyes sparkled with excitement. I knew you'd be back. You're too good to stay away for long. So, what's your first move? Alex paused for a moment, considering. I think it's time to get back to basics. To focus on the things that matter, the things that push us forward. We need to find a way to recapture that spark we had when we first started. The excitement, the creativity. We've got a lot of catching up to do. As Alex and Claire spoke, the realization hit him again, he wasn't just returning to a company. He was returning to a mission. A mission that was more important than ever. And it wasn't going to be easy. There was a lot of work to be done, and the world was watching. Later that afternoon, Elon called a team meeting in the main conference room. The room was filled with Tesla's brightest minds, engineers, designers, project managers, and leaders who had been with the company for years. Some were new faces, while others had been there since the early days. When Alex walked into the room, all eyes were on him. The air was thick with anticipation. Elon stood at the front of the room, his usual intense energy filling the space. He looked over at Alex with a nod, signaling for him to take a seat. "I've called this meeting to discuss where we're headed next," Elon began, his voice calm but filled with authority. "As many of you know, Alex Parker is returning to Tesla. He's been a key player in some of our most successful projects, and we're bringing him back to lead the charge on something big." There was a murmur of approval from the team. They all knew Alex's reputation, his ingenuity, his work ethic, and his ability to find solutions to problems that seemed impossible. But there was more to it than that. His return symbolized something larger, a turning point for Tesla. A chance to reignite the creative spark that had made Tesla what it was in the first place. "Alex," Elon continued, turning to him, "I've got some big plans in mind for you. I know you've got the skills, but what I need is your vision. What do we need to do to get back on top?" Alex felt the weight of the question. It wasn't just about fixing what was broken. It was about finding a way to make Tesla more than it had ever been before. More than just a car company. After a long pause, Alex spoke, his voice steady and confident. "We need to rethink everything. We've built a great product, but we've lost sight of why we started this in the first place. We're not just in the business of making cars. We're in the business of changing the world. And that means we need to focus on innovation, true innovation. We need to push boundaries in ways that no one else can. We've got the technology. Now it's time to make sure we're using it to change lives." The room fell silent, absorbing the magnitude of his words. There was no doubt that Alex had a clear vision. But the real question was, could Tesla, with all its resources and power, get back to that place of unrestrained creativity? Could they recapture the excitement of those early days? Elon broke the silence with a single word. "Agreed." From there, the meeting took on a new energy. Ideas flew. Strategies were debated. Everyone in the room felt the urgency of the moment. It wasn't just about the next product launch or the next quarterly earnings report, it was about the future. It was about a movement that could change the world. As the meeting wrapped up, Elon turned to Alex once again. "You've got the green light, Alex. It's your project. Lead us into the future." Alex nodded, a feeling of determination settling deep within him. He wasn't just back at Tesla. He was back for something bigger than any car, any company. This was about legacy. About making a real difference. And with that, he knew that the journey ahead would be anything but ordinary. As Alex left the conference room, Claire caught up with him. "This is it, huh? No turning back now." Alex smiled. "No turning back. It's time to get to work." The world had no idea what was coming next. But Alex did. And he was ready to lead the way. Alex Parker stood before a room full of engineers, designers, and visionary leaders, all eager to hear what he had to say. The energy in the room was palpable. It was the kind of excitement that had been missing in Tesla for a while, a hunger to innovate, to break through the boundaries of what was possible. "This is it," Alex said, pacing in front of the whiteboard, marker in hand. "We've built great cars, but we've let the world catch up. It's time we move beyond what we know, beyond the electric car. Tesla isn't just a car company, we're a technology company, and we need to act like it." He wrote, "Beyond the car," on the board in bold letters. "You're wondering what that means," Alex continued, turning to face the team. "It means we need to think bigger than we ever have before. We need to make every Tesla product a part of a larger, interconnected ecosystem. That means breaking into new industries, energy storage, transportation, autonomous systems, you name it. Our goal is to change the way people live, not just the way they drive. There was a collective murmur of agreement from the room. Alex could feel the spark in the air. This wasn't just a meeting, it was the beginning of something revolutionary. We're going to start by reimagining the electric vehicle, not just as a car, but as a platform for innovation. Imagine a Tesla that can power your home, run your business, and drive you to work, seamlessly integrated into every part of your life. A truly self-sustaining system. He could see the wheels turning in the minds of the team members. Some were nodding in excitement, others scribbling notes furiously. But there were still skeptics. He could feel their presence, those who had been with the company long enough to know that big ideas didn't always translate into big successes. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, Alex continued, sensing the doubt in the room. That sounds like a crazy idea. But it's not. We have the technology. We have the resources. What we've lacked in recent years is the kind of radical innovation that brought Tesla to life in the first place. He paused, letting the words sink in. We're going to develop a Tesla home ecosystem, solar panels, energy storage, a next-generation power grid, all controlled by an intelligent AI system. And we're going to integrate it with our vehicles so that our customers aren't just driving electric cars, they're living in a Tesla-powered world. Think of it as the ultimate convergence of clean energy and smart technology. The room fell silent for a moment. Then, slowly, hands began to rise. Alex, that's ambitious, said James, a senior project manager. But how do we get there? How do we make this a reality? We're talking about disrupting not just the auto industry, but the energy industry as a whole. There are so many variables we can't control. Alex smiled. This was the kind of challenge he'd been craving. I know it's ambitious. But Tesla was never about playing it safe. We've always been about challenging the status quo. If we want to change the world, we can't do it by thinking small. We're going to need to bring together the best minds in the world, engineers, scientists, designers, and even energy policy experts. We'll take a step-by-step approach, but we'll keep pushing the boundaries. We'll start with something simple, an integrated energy solution, and then scale up. A few nods of approval rippled through the room. Alex could see that he was starting to win them over. This wasn't just about cars anymore. This was about reshaping the way people lived and interacted with technology. And that was something they could all get behind. We're going to need some big names to help us get there, Alex said, leaning into the group. I've already reached out to a few key contacts in the energy sector. We'll need to form partnerships and build new teams, but we're not waiting around for permission. We're going to start building prototypes right now. The room buzzed with activity as people began to exchange ideas. The excitement was contagious. This was the beginning of a new era for Tesla, an era where they were no longer just a car company but a global leader in sustainable technology. After the meeting, Alex walked through the halls of Tesla's headquarters, feeling a sense of pride he hadn't experienced in years. He was surrounded by some of the most brilliant minds in the world, all working together toward a common goal, to change the way the world consumed energy and moved through it. But Alex knew it wouldn't be easy. There were challenges ahead, and many of them were bigger than anything Tesla had ever faced. The energy sector was dominated by massive corporations with decades of experience, and disrupting that space would take more than just innovative ideas. It would take bold, strategic action and the courage to go up against entrenched interests. He couldn't help but think back to his conversation with Elon, when he had first returned to Tesla. The vision they shared was clear now. They weren't just building a better car. They were building a better world. Alex's phone buzzed, and he looked down to see a message from Claire. Hey, I know you've got a lot going on, but I think we should talk. There are some challenges ahead that I don't think we're prepared for. Can we meet tomorrow? Alex's heart skipped a beat. He knew Claire well enough to recognize that tone. She didn't send messages like this unless something was weighing heavily on her mind. Of course. Let's meet. I'll be in my office at 10. He sent the message and leaned back in his chair, staring out the window. There was no doubt in his mind that the road ahead would be bumpy. But that was the price of innovation. The bigger the vision, the harder the challenges. But Alex was ready. He wasn't just back at Tesla to build cars. He was back to build the future. And the future wasn't going to wait. The next day, Claire walked into Alex's office, her expression serious. "What's on your mind?" Alex asked, gesturing for her to take a seat. "I'm worried about the scale of this new vision," Claire said, folding her arms. "I get that we want to change the world, but we're talking about re-engineering everything, our cars, our energy solutions, our whole business model. We don't have the resources to do this at the level we're imagining. We need more than just a good idea. We need a strategy." Alex leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. He had expected this conversation, and he was ready for it. "I agree. But we have something they don't: passion, vision, and the courage to take risks. We can't sit back and wait for the perfect moment. We have to move forward, even if it's messy. We'll refine things as we go." Claire nodded slowly but still seemed unconvinced. "All right. But we need to make sure we're aligned, all of us. We can't afford to take shortcuts." "I'm not looking to cut corners," Alex assured her. "We'll do it right. But we have to move fast, or someone else will beat us to it." As Claire left his office, Alex felt the weight of the responsibility he was carrying. But he was determined. They were going to do this. They had to. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. Alex's vision was starting to take shape, and the team was on board. Yet, for every breakthrough, there was a roadblock. A challenge that seemed insurmountable. The energy industry wasn't going to change overnight, and many of Tesla's competitors had deep pockets and decades of experience. But none of that mattered to Alex. He had spent years pushing the envelope, and now that he was back at Tesla, he wasn't going to stop. He was driven by a singular goal: to revolutionize the way people lived and powered their world. And Tesla wasn't just going to be a part of the change, it was going to lead it. But as with all things, when the stakes were this high, there were bound to be obstacles. It was late one evening when Alex sat in his office, staring at the blueprint for Tesla's new home ecosystem. The vision was there. He could see it in his mind. But the practicality of executing such a massive overhaul was daunting. Energy storage, solar panels, AI, integrating all of these components seamlessly was no small feat, and then there was the regulatory environment to contend with. Just as he was about to pick up his phone to call Claire, there was a knock at the door. "Come in," Alex said, swiveling in his chair. The door opened, and Claire stepped inside. She had an expression on her face that Alex couldn't quite place. "Everything all right?" he asked, sitting up straighter. Claire hesitated before speaking. "We've got a problem." Alex raised an eyebrow. "What kind of problem?" She sighed and walked over to the desk, setting down a folder. "I've been digging into the regulatory landscape, and it's more complicated than we thought. There are some serious hurdles we're going to have to jump through if we want to bring the home ecosystem to market. There are permits, environmental regulations, and frankly, a lot of competition from traditional energy companies that will fight us every step of the way." Alex felt a tightness in his chest. He had anticipated some resistance, but hearing it laid out so plainly made it feel real. "Do we have a timeline?" Alex asked. "Not one we're going to like," Claire said. "Even with our resources, it could take years to get through all the red tape. And that's if we get the permits in the first place. The energy industry isn't exactly thrilled about disruption. They'll do whatever they can to delay us." Alex stared at the folder in front of him, the weight of the situation pressing down on him. For a moment, he felt a pang of doubt. Could they really pull this off? Was Tesla truly ready to take on an industry as entrenched as energy? Claire noticed his silence and quickly added, "But, Alex, we're Tesla. We've overcome tougher challenges before." Alex looked up at her, a flicker of determination returning to his eyes. "You're right. We've done it before, and we'll do it again. We just have to be smart about it." He stood up and began pacing the room. The solution wasn't going to be easy, but Alex wasn't someone who backed down from a challenge. They needed to find a way around the regulatory roadblocks. They needed to get creative. What if we focus on a smaller, more manageable version of the home ecosystem? Alex suggested, rubbing his chin. Instead of launching everything all at once, we roll out a pilot program with just the energy storage and solar panels, no AI integration yet. We prove that it works, then build momentum. Once we've got a foothold in the market, we can push for the AI-powered grid. Claire raised an eyebrow. "So, we take baby steps." "Exactly," Alex said. "We start small, build the infrastructure, and then push for the next phase. By the time we've proven the value of our system, the regulations will start to catch up. And if we have a successful pilot, we'll have the leverage to get the green light for the full rollout." It was a strategy, but it was also a gamble. The team would have to get it right. The energy storage solution had to be flawless, and the solar panels had to perform better than anything on the market. They needed to demonstrate the potential of their vision before they could go all in with the fully integrated, AI-powered system. "I'll start working on a plan," Claire said, still looking thoughtful. "But this will take time. We'll need to get buy-in from the team, and we'll need to find partners who can help us build this out. This is going to be a long road." "I know," Alex replied. "But we've got a clear vision. And we're not backing down." In the days that followed, Alex and Claire worked tirelessly on their revised strategy. They reached out to suppliers, potential partners, and even some industry experts who could help them navigate the regulatory maze. Slowly but surely, the pieces started to fall into place. But just as Alex felt like they were making progress, he received an unexpected call that made everything feel uncertain again. It was from Elon Musk. "Alex, I need to talk to you," Elon's voice crackled through the phone. "I'm getting feedback from the board. They're worried about the scope of the project. They think it's too big, too risky. They want us to focus on one thing at a time, either the cars or the energy side. They're not sold on the idea of integrating both." Alex's heart sank. He had expected pushback from competitors, but not from within the company. Elon was the ultimate visionary, but even he had to deal with the realities of running a massive company. The board's concerns were valid, but they didn't align with Alex's vision. "I've been thinking a lot about that, Elon," Alex said, trying to keep his voice steady. "But this isn't just about cars or energy. It's about creating a system that ties everything together. Our customers don't just want a car, they want a lifestyle. A Tesla-powered world. We can't separate the two." There was a long pause on the other end of the line. Alex could practically hear the wheels turning in Elon's head. "I get it," Elon finally said. "But we need to prove it first. If you think we can pull off the energy side while still keeping the car division at full speed, then I'll back you. But if we hit a wall, we need to be ready to pivot." Alex took a deep breath. "We won't hit a wall. I promise." Later that evening, as Alex sat in his office, the weight of the conversation with Elon hung over him. The road ahead was full of obstacles, regulatory, financial, and now internal resistance. But Alex was determined. Tesla wasn't just another tech company. They had the power to change the world, and nothing would stop him from making that a reality. As he stared at the plans for the home ecosystem once more, he knew that this was just the beginning. They had a lot of work to do. But the vision was clear, and he was ready to lead Tesla toward the future. As the days turned into weeks, the pressure on Alex intensified. There was no denying it, the challenges they were facing were monumental. But with every challenge, there was a sense of progress. The team had come together with renewed energy, and ideas were flowing at an incredible pace. But for all the momentum, the roadblocks were still there, lurking, threatening to stop them before they could truly take off. Alex spent most of his time working with Claire to navigate the regulatory hurdles. They had managed to secure some initial approvals for the energy storage and solar panel systems, but that was just the first step. Now, they had to deal with the massive scale of the project. Suppliers were nervous. Some of Tesla's internal engineers were still skeptical about their ability to build such an ambitious home ecosystem in the timeframe Alex had outlined. But Alex wasn't deterred. He knew they were on the right path. The uncertainty hit its peak during a tense board meeting where Alex was forced to address the company's top brass and try to convince them that Tesla's future lay beyond cars. Elon had given him the green light, but even the CEO had his reservations. The board's voices were louder than ever. "Alex, we're not saying we don't believe in your vision," began Steve, a senior board member who had been with Tesla from the beginning. "But we need to be pragmatic here. This isn't just about creating a product, it's about creating an infrastructure. A completely new market for us. How can we be sure this will even work?" Alex stood at the front of the room, his hands gripping the podium. He had anticipated these questions, but hearing them now made his resolve even stronger. "It's not going to be easy," Alex began, his voice steady. "And it's not going to happen overnight. But this is the future. We're not just creating a new product. We're creating a new way of living. A self-sustaining energy ecosystem that can power homes, businesses, and vehicles alike. This isn't a side project, it's the next step in our evolution. And it's what will differentiate Tesla from every other company out there." He paused, letting the words sink in. The board members exchanged uneasy glances, but Alex wasn't finished. "We're already ahead of the curve. Our solar technology is industry-leading. Our battery storage systems are already some of the best in the world. All we need to do is bring them together, and then we'll have something that no one else can replicate. We can be the company that changes the way the world uses energy." The room fell silent, the weight of his words hanging in the air. Alex could see that they were listening, but there was still doubt. He wasn't just battling the board's skepticism, he was battling years of tradition, the belief that a company like Tesla should focus solely on electric vehicles and not spread itself thin with new, untested ideas. Elon, who had been quiet until now, finally spoke up. "What Alex is saying is right," Elon said, his voice calm but firm. "We didn't build Tesla by playing it safe. We're here because we've always been willing to push boundaries. If we only focus on electric cars, we'll miss the bigger picture. The world is changing, and we need to change with it. This isn't just a car company anymore. It's about creating an ecosystem that can change the way the world runs." The room murmured. Some nodded in agreement, while others remained skeptical. But Alex could see that Elon's support gave him the backing he needed. "This is the turning point," Elon continued. "We either continue to disrupt the car industry and stagnate, or we lead the charge in transforming the way people live and work. The decision is ours." After the meeting, Alex walked out of the boardroom feeling a weight lifted off his shoulders. Elon's support was critical, but Alex knew they still had a long way to go. He had one major hurdle left to clear, convincing the engineering teams that the plan was feasible. That evening, as he walked through Tesla's main building, he caught sight of Claire talking to a group of engineers. They were deep in discussion, and from the way they were gesturing and scribbling on whiteboards, Alex could tell they were in the thick of solving a particularly difficult problem. He approached quietly and waited for them to notice him. After a moment, Claire looked up. "Alex," she said, giving him a nod of acknowledgement. "We've made some progress, but we're hitting a wall on the AI side of things. Integrating the power grid with autonomous systems is no easy task. We've been experimenting with different algorithms, but we still can't get it to work in real-world conditions. Alex felt a flicker of concern. The AI was the heart of their long-term vision, and without it, the entire project would lack the magic he had been promising. But he refused to let that doubt take root. "Let's take a step back," Alex said, his voice calm. "We've been so focused on the end product that we've forgotten what we're really trying to do. This isn't about perfection, it's about impact. We need to prove that it works in real-world conditions. Let's simplify the AI for the pilot phase. We'll scale it up once we've proven the concept." Claire looked thoughtful for a moment, then nodded. "Okay. That's a good approach. Let's build the foundation first. We can make it smarter over time." Alex smiled, relieved. "Exactly. We start simple, and we iterate. We'll make the AI smarter, more intuitive, as we go. And we'll use customer feedback to guide the next phase." Claire's eyes lit up with a renewed sense of purpose. "I like this. It's not perfect, but it's a start." Alex clapped her on the back. "Sometimes, the first step is the hardest. But once we have that, everything else will fall into place." Later that night, as Alex sat in his office going over the latest reports, he couldn't shake the feeling that they were at a tipping point. He knew the risks. He knew the obstacles. But something told him that the world was ready for Tesla's next big leap. And this time, they weren't just going to change the automotive industry, they were going to change the world. Alex received a call from Elon around midnight. "Hey, Alex," Elon's voice crackled over the phone. "How's the team holding up?" "We're pushing through. The team's making strides, even though there's a lot of uncertainty ahead. We're close to having something real." "Good," Elon said. "Just remember, don't be afraid to fail. If we're going to change the world, we're going to have to break some things. But we'll fix them. We always do." Alex smiled, hearing the familiar confidence in Elon's voice. "Thanks, Elon. We won't back down." They said their goodbyes, and Alex hung up the phone, feeling more determined than ever. Tomorrow was another day. Another day closer to revolutionizing the way the world worked, lived, and moved. And Alex Parker was going to lead Tesla to the future, no matter what it took. The momentum that Alex and his team had built over the last few weeks was undeniable. The new approach, focusing on a smaller pilot project, was beginning to pay off. They had streamlined their plans, prioritized the most important components of the home ecosystem, and were gaining critical ground with their partners. Yet, just when things seemed to be falling into place, a new challenge emerged that Alex had never anticipated. It started with a phone call early one morning. Alex was at his desk, sipping his coffee when his phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen, noting the caller ID. This was the kind of call he didn't want to get. "Morning, Alex," came the voice on the other end of the line. It was Claire. But her tone was off, more tense than usual. "We've got a problem." Alex sat up straight. "What kind of problem?" "There's a major issue with one of the suppliers. We just got word that they're having serious financial troubles, and they're pulling out of the deal. That means the solar panels we were counting on for the pilot project are off the table." Alex's stomach dropped. Losing a supplier was a blow that could derail everything. The solar panels were supposed to be the cornerstone of the home ecosystem. If they couldn't deliver, the whole project would be compromised. "Which supplier?" Alex asked, already bracing for bad news. "It's Soltech," Claire replied. "They were one of the top manufacturers in the country, but we've been hearing rumors about their financial instability for a while now." "I guess it's true." Alex leaned back in his chair, trying to stay calm. This was the last thing they needed. A setback like this could delay the pilot program for months, if not longer. But as the minutes ticked by, he realized one thing: he couldn't afford to panic. Not now. "All right," he said, taking a deep breath. "We can't dwell on this. We need to find a solution. Start reaching out to other suppliers. Find out who can step in and deliver on this level." Claire hesitated. "It's not that easy, Alex. Soltech was the only one that could meet our exact specifications, and the timeline we need. The others won't be able to keep up." Alex's mind raced. This was the kind of roadblock that could unravel all their progress. But he refused to let it stop them. He had faced impossible odds before, and he would do it again. "I know it's going to be tough," Alex said, his voice firm. "But we have to keep pushing forward. Let's start by seeing who else is out there. I'm sure there's someone who can meet the quality and speed we need." For the next several days, Alex and Claire worked around the clock, reaching out to every solar panel manufacturer they could find. Some were too small to handle the scale of Tesla's needs, others were too slow or didn't meet the company's stringent standards. It seemed like every lead ended in disappointment. On top of that, the media had started picking up on the story about Soltech's financial troubles. Headlines read like doom and gloom: "Solar manufacturer goes bankrupt, leaving major tech companies in the lurch," and "Tesla's grand vision faces setback due to supply chain woes." The pressure was mounting. Alex tried to focus on the bigger picture, but every day felt like a race against time. They needed to move forward, or they risked losing everything. It wasn't just the solar panels they were concerned about anymore, it was the reputation of Tesla itself. They had already sold the idea to investors, to the board, and to the world. Now they had to deliver. Then, just when things seemed their bleakest, Alex got an unexpected call. "Alex, it's Mark," said the voice on the other end. Mark was the CEO of a relatively small, up-and-coming solar energy company called SunShift. They hadn't worked with SunShift before, but Alex had heard good things. Still, he hadn't considered them as a backup in their plans. "Mark? What's going on?" Alex asked, surprised to hear from him. "I heard about your troubles with Soltech," Mark said. "I've got a solution for you. We've been working on a new type of solar panel that's more efficient and cost-effective. It's a little unconventional, but I think it might be just what you need. We can meet your specifications and timeline. If you're interested, we can discuss the details." Alex couldn't believe what he was hearing. After weeks of dead ends, here was a potential lifeline. He took a deep breath, trying to steady his excitement. "I'm interested," Alex replied. "Let's set up a meeting. I want to hear more." The next day, Alex met with Mark and his team. They were a small but scrappy group of engineers, all eager to make a name for themselves in the solar industry. Mark presented their new panel, which was smaller and lighter than most on the market, but still powerful enough to meet Tesla's needs. The efficiency was off the charts, and they could scale production in a fraction of the time it would take most suppliers. "This is exactly what we need," Alex said, studying the panel closely. "You're telling me you can get this to us within the next few months?" Mark nodded confidently. "We can. We've got the resources, and we've already started ramping up production. If you're willing to work with us, we'll make sure we meet your timeline." Alex felt a weight lift off his chest. This wasn't just a solution, it was a breakthrough. SunShift wasn't just solving their problem, they were giving them an advantage over their competitors. If the panels performed as promised, Tesla would have an edge in the market. They could scale faster and more efficiently than anyone else. "I'll talk to the team, but we're on board," Alex said. "Let's make this happen." Within days, the deal was struck, and Tesla's new partnership with SunShift was officially underway. The media buzzed with the news, and the headlines shifted from doom and gloom to a more positive light: "Tesla secures new solar supplier, keeps project on track." It was a relief, but Alex knew better than to get too comfortable. They still had a long road ahead, and this was just one obstacle in a series of challenges to overcome. Back at the Tesla headquarters, the atmosphere had shifted from one of uncertainty to cautious optimism. The team was re-energized, and Alex felt like they were back on track. But as he looked at the new timeline and the adjustments to the plan, one thing was clear: there were more obstacles waiting just around the corner. The competition wasn't going to just stand by and let Tesla take over the energy industry. And soon, Alex would have to face the next hurdle, one that would test everything Tesla had worked for. The deal with SunShift was a game changer, but Alex knew that they couldn't rest on their laurels. The solar panel breakthrough was crucial, but it was only one piece of a much larger puzzle. The clock was ticking, and Tesla's competitors weren't just sitting back, they were accelerating their own plans, pushing to secure dominance in the emerging renewable energy market. It wasn't just about being first, it was about being the best. Alex had always believed in Tesla's ability to innovate and lead, but this was a different kind of challenge. The stakes were higher. There were companies with deep pockets and established reputations in the energy sector, and they weren't going to let Tesla's bold new ecosystem disrupt everything without a fight. But Alex wasn't someone who shied away from competition. He thrived in it. It had been 3 weeks since Tesla signed the deal with SunShift, and Alex was buried in meetings. On one hand, everything was moving forward with a renewed sense of purpose. The solar panels were set to arrive on schedule, and the engineering team had made significant progress with the software that would integrate Tesla's vehicles with the home ecosystem. But on the other hand, there was the looming pressure of the competition, which had started to gain momentum. He couldn't ignore the headlines anymore: Rivian makes bold moves in solar market, Ford unveils new energy solutions at scale, General Motors to integrate EVs with home energy systems. The battle for the future of energy was heating up, and Tesla wasn't the only contender. One afternoon, while Alex was reviewing some data, his phone buzzed. It was an email from a journalist who had been following the Tesla project closely. "Hey Alex, I've been hearing some interesting things about your new energy ecosystem. There's a lot of buzz surrounding Tesla's potential, but I've also caught wind of some serious concerns. Some industry insiders are saying that your integration of solar, batteries, and EVs could face serious technical challenges. I'd love to get your thoughts on this, particularly with Rivian's recent announcements. Can you give me a comment?" Alex scowled at the email. The media had been digging into Tesla for months, but this felt different. The competition was actively working to undermine Tesla's progress, and now it had started spilling into the public conversation. Before he could draft a response, his phone rang. It was Elon. "Elon," Alex answered. "What's up?" "I just saw the article," Elon said, his voice low but calm. "Looks like the media's starting to make waves again." Alex didn't even try to sugarcoat it. "Yeah. Rivian's getting a lot of attention. They're positioning themselves as the next big thing in solar and energy storage." "Don't worry about them," Elon replied. "We've been here before. Remember the first time they said we'd never make it in the electric vehicle space? It's the same playbook." Alex took a deep breath, nodding to himself. Elon was right. He couldn't let the competition distract him from Tesla's core mission. The media and rival companies could throw all the shade they wanted, but Tesla had something they didn't: vision. "I know. But it's hard to ignore. They're moving fast, and their press releases make it sound like they've already got the next-gen tech ready to roll out," Alex said, frustration creeping into his voice. "We have a lot of ground to cover, and we're running out of time." "Listen," Elon said. "We're not going to win this race by copying what others are doing. We're going to win by doing what no one else can, by being bold, by thinking bigger. We're not just trying to build energy solutions, Alex. We're trying to change the game entirely." Alex paused for a moment, letting the weight of Elon's words sink in. It wasn't about keeping up with the competition, it was about staying true to Tesla's mission of innovation. "All right," Alex said, his voice steadier now. "Thanks, Elon. I needed that. Anytime. Now, let's get back to work and make sure that when they talk about the future of energy, they'll be talking about Tesla. For the next few days, Alex poured himself into his work even more intensely. He knew that the competition was watching their every move, but he refused to let that dictate their strategy. They had to stay one step ahead. They had to keep innovating, keep pushing boundaries. One area that had been gaining traction in recent meetings was the integration of Tesla's autonomous driving technology with the home ecosystem. What if the system could not only manage the energy usage of a home but also optimize the operation of the electric vehicles? What if the autonomous system could predict when a car would need to charge based on a homeowner's daily routines, adjusting energy flow to optimize battery life? The idea was ambitious, even by Tesla's standards. But if they could pull it off, it would set them apart from every other competitor in the space. To tackle this challenge, Alex turned to the brightest minds in Tesla's engineering department. He called in Claire, Mark, and several senior engineers for a late-night brainstorming session. They needed to push the envelope, something bigger than just an energy system. They needed a vision that would captivate the world and outpace the competition. The room was quiet as the engineers gathered around the whiteboard. Alex stood in front, pointing to a diagram of Tesla's energy ecosystem. We're not just creating an energy product anymore. We're building an experience, Alex said, pacing. It's not just about smart solar panels or battery storage. It's about seamless integration. We need to think of this as a single living, breathing system. He could see the spark of understanding in the engineer's eyes. They were getting it. Imagine this, Alex continued. A Tesla home energy system where everything communicates with each other. The solar panels, the storage batteries, the cars, everything works together in harmony. And it adapts. It learns. It evolves. Claire raised her hand. So, you're saying that our vehicles and home ecosystem would actually talk to each other? The system would optimize charging, adjust energy usage, and even predict power needs? Alex nodded enthusiastically. Exactly. The whole system would learn from the homeowner's habits. And with the addition of autonomous driving, the cars could even adjust their charging schedules based on travel routes. It's the next level of smart energy. Mark leaned forward, his eyes wide. That's genius. We can use AI to create the brain that connects it all. It could not only save energy but help people live more sustainably. By the end of the meeting, the team was buzzing with ideas. This new vision was bigger than just a product, it was a lifestyle. Tesla wasn't just going to sell a system, they were going to sell an entirely new way of living, one where energy wasn't just consumed, it was optimized, managed, and integrated into every aspect of daily life. But Alex knew that this ambitious goal would be harder than anything they'd done before. The competition wouldn't just watch from the sidelines. They'd try to copy Tesla's every move. And soon, Alex would have to face the inevitable. They would have to battle not only for market share but for the future of the entire energy industry. The race was on. The idea of an integrated Tesla home energy system was bold, visionary, and potentially revolutionary. Alex could feel the energy in the air as the team rallied around the concept. They weren't just working on a new product anymore, they were about to change the future of energy itself. But as with any great ambition, the road ahead was fraught with challenges, and no one knew that better than Alex. In the days that followed, Tesla's engineers worked tirelessly, each of them fully invested in the dream of creating an ecosystem that seamlessly connected solar power, home storage, and electric vehicles. But the pressure was mounting. Tesla's competitors were fast closing the gap, and with each passing week, their tech seemed to be improving. It wasn't just about having better products anymore. It was about being first. Being the one that could reshape an entire industry. Alex sat in his office one late evening, going through his emails. The usual reports and updates filled his inbox, but there was one email that caught his eye, an invitation to a major renewable energy conference in 2 months. The conference was known for attracting some of the brightest minds and key players in the industry. If Tesla was going to take the lead, this event would be the perfect opportunity to showcase their progress. But Alex knew that the timeline was tight. There was still a lot of work to do, especially on the integration of Tesla's technologies. Their energy storage system had to be able to not only store solar energy efficiently but also adapt in real time to user habits. The solar panels, while high-tech, had to be integrated flawlessly with the vehicle's charging systems. And all of this had to be done with an eye toward user experience, making it all as simple and intuitive as Tesla's cars. As Alex sat contemplating the challenge, his phone buzzed, interrupting his thoughts. It was a call from Claire. "Hey, Alex. I've got some news." "It's not great." Alex's stomach tightened. "What happened?" "We've hit a major roadblock with the energy storage system," Claire said, her voice sounding strained. "The software isn't syncing with the hardware like we expected. There's a delay in how the system adjusts to the solar inputs, which could cause issues in real-world use. If we can't fix this, the whole integration is at risk." Alex felt the weight of her words. This was the kind of setback that could derail everything. If the storage system couldn't respond in real time, the whole vision of a connected ecosystem would fall apart. They would lose their edge over the competition, and worse, they'd lose the trust of their investors and customers. "All right. Let's take a step back," Alex said, trying to stay calm. "How bad is it? Can we fix it?" "We're working on it, but right now it's a matter of time. We need a new approach. The current algorithm we're using just isn't scalable for this kind of integration." Alex gripped the edge of his desk, staring out the window. He had expected challenges. Every great venture had them. But this was different. This was a fundamental issue that could impact the entire project's viability. He couldn't afford to let this slide. "Give me a day," Alex said. "I'll come down and we'll figure this out." The next day, Alex joined Claire and the engineering team in the lab. The atmosphere was tense as they gathered around a large whiteboard, trying to troubleshoot the system. The integration was more complicated than anyone had anticipated. The solar panels, the batteries, and the cars all needed to communicate constantly, adjusting in real time to optimize energy flow. After hours of brainstorming and testing, one of the engineers, Ben, came up with a potential solution. "What if we reprogram the system so that it uses machine learning to better predict the energy needs of the home based on data from the cars, the solar inputs, and the battery levels?" Ben suggested. "Instead of relying solely on preset algorithms, we could use AI to learn the patterns of each household." Alex's eyes lit up. This was the breakthrough they needed. Using machine learning to predict and adjust energy usage based on real-time data from every aspect of the ecosystem would make the system not only more efficient but also more adaptable. It would be like having a personal energy assistant that got smarter the longer it was used. "I love it," Alex said. "Let's move forward with this approach. We don't have time to waste. We need to get it right for the conference." For the next few weeks, the team worked around the clock, reprogramming the energy management system with the new machine learning model. It wasn't easy. There were plenty of bumps along the way, failed tests, bug fixes, and setbacks, but they pushed through, knowing that this was their best shot at getting ahead of the competition. Alex knew that Tesla couldn't afford another setback. The industry was watching. And soon, they would need to demonstrate that they were not just another company in the renewable energy space, they were the company that was going to change the way the world consumed power. Then came the day of the conference. The excitement was palpable as Tesla's team entered the main hall, ready to present their new energy ecosystem to the world. Alex felt a mix of nerves and anticipation. This was it. This was the moment where all their hard work would either pay off or fall flat. The crowd buzzed with energy, as representatives from major energy companies, tech giants, and media outlets mingled and exchanged ideas. Alex, Claire, and the rest of the team made their way to the Tesla booth, which was sleek and minimalistic, reflecting the design aesthetic of their vehicles. The Tesla logo shone brightly, and the centerpiece was the home energy system, which had just been completed in time for the event. Elon was supposed to join them later, but Alex was determined to take the first step himself. This was his project, his team's work. He wanted to show the world that Tesla was not only ready to lead the energy revolution but had already done so. He took a deep breath and stepped up to the podium. The crowd fell silent as Alex began to speak. "Good afternoon, everyone," Alex said, his voice steady. "We've reached a turning point in the energy sector, and today, Tesla is proud to introduce our vision for the future of energy. This is not just about solar panels, batteries, or electric vehicles. It's about creating a truly integrated system that works together seamlessly to power homes, vehicles, and lives in the most efficient, sustainable way possible." He paused, allowing the words to sink in. "Today, we're not just unveiling a product. We're unveiling a revolution." As Alex spoke, the crowd's attention intensified. Tesla's energy ecosystem wasn't just innovative, it was transformative. The system connected solar panels, energy storage, and electric vehicles, all powered by machine learning and artificial intelligence. It learned from every interaction, adapting to users' needs and habits. It was a system that could predict and optimize energy flow, ensuring that homeowners always had the right amount of power at the right time. By the end of the presentation, the audience was captivated. Alex could feel the shift in the room. Tesla wasn't just a car company anymore. They were the future of energy. But as the applause echoed through the hall, Alex knew this was just the beginning. The competition wasn't going to back down. Rivian, Ford, and the others were already thinking about their next move. The race was on, and there was no turning back now. The day after the conference, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that something big had changed. The energy in the air was palpable, but it wasn't just the buzz from Tesla's groundbreaking presentation. It was the realization that they had just crossed a threshold. They had put themselves on the map, not just as a leader in electric vehicles but as a pioneer in renewable energy. As he walked into Tesla's headquarters the morning after the event, Alex was greeted with a mixture of excitement and anxiety. The energy from the conference was still fresh, but now the real challenge began. It wasn't about presenting their vision to the world anymore, it was about executing it. "Morning, Alex." Claire greeted him from her desk as she sifted through emails. Her face lit up as soon as she saw him. "Hey, Claire. I take it the conference went well," Alex replied, trying to keep his voice steady, though he felt the weight of what lay ahead. "We've been getting calls all morning, media, investors, and even some competitors. They're all asking for more details about the ecosystem, and they're already starting to dig into the tech," Claire said, scrolling through the messages. Alex felt his pulse quicken. The media's interest was one thing, but the attention from competitors was a different beast entirely. They weren't just going to sit back and let Tesla dominate. Rivian, Ford, General Motors, none of them were going to give up without a fight. "Let's not get too comfortable," Alex said, taking a seat at the conference table, his mind already racing ahead. "We need to move quickly. Let's get a timeline for scaling up production. We need to make sure that this system is ready for the market sooner rather than later." Claire nodded. "I'm already working with the manufacturing team to figure out the logistics. But it's going to take a lot of resources to ramp up. We'll need new factories, more staff, and testing. It's a huge undertaking." "I know," Alex said, pinching the bridge of his nose. "But we don't have the luxury of time. The longer we wait, the more chances our competitors have to catch up. And I don't intend to let that happen." The following weeks were a blur of planning and intense work. Alex, Claire, and the entire Tesla team worked day and night, refining the technology, preparing for the large-scale rollout, and handling the media frenzy. The interest in their energy ecosystem had skyrocketed. Tesla was no longer just a car company. It was now a major player in the renewable energy revolution. But with that attention came new challenges. Alex knew that they had to remain ahead of the curve. The first wave of orders for Tesla's energy ecosystem started to come in, and production lines had to be adjusted to handle the new demands. As Tesla's ecosystem continued to evolve, so did the pressure. They couldn't afford to falter, not now. Every new piece of tech, every new partnership, every new move was being scrutinized under a magnifying glass. The competitors weren't sitting idle either. Alex received regular updates about their plans, and it was clear that they were speeding up development in response to Tesla's momentum. But it wasn't just the big players that Alex had to worry about. Smaller startups were beginning to emerge, aiming to disrupt Tesla's newfound dominance. They weren't necessarily as well-funded or well-established, but they were hungry, innovative, and quick to pivot. These smaller companies were moving fast and coming up with clever solutions that could eat away at Tesla's market share if they weren't careful. One evening, as Alex sat in his office after another grueling day of meetings, his phone buzzed with an incoming message. It was from Elon. "I've been hearing a lot of chatter about the competition. How are we holding up?" Alex sighed and typed back quickly, "We're doing all right, but I'm not going to lie, it's getting intense. Rivian's pushing hard, and there are new startups emerging every day. We need to stay ahead." He paused before adding, "I think we're doing well, but I don't want to be complacent." Elon's reply was short, but it was exactly what Alex needed to hear: complacency is the enemy. Let's keep pushing. We have one goal: to change the world. That was the rallying cry. It was a reminder that Tesla wasn't in this just to make a profit. They were in it to make a difference. They had the vision and the technology, but now, they needed to execute flawlessly. In the midst of this intense focus on execution, Alex's thoughts often wandered back to the bigger picture. The home energy system wasn't just about creating a product, it was about creating a new way of life for people. It was about offering them the freedom to control their energy use, to live sustainably, and to break free from traditional energy monopolies that had been in place for generations. The integration of solar power, energy storage, and electric vehicles was the future. It wasn't just about saving money, it was about saving the planet. This was Tesla's true mission. But with great ambition came great responsibility. Then came the news that Alex had been dreading. Rivian had just announced a partnership with a major energy storage company to build their own version of the integrated energy ecosystem. They were promising a solution that would be ready for launch in 6 months, a timeline that was alarmingly close to Tesla's. Claire pulled Alex aside after the news hit. "They're not wasting any time. They've got the money, the tech, and the partnerships to make this happen fast." "I know," Alex said, frustration lacing his words. "But we've already got the infrastructure in place. We've already got a working model. We can't let this distract us. We have to stay focused." But the pressure was undeniable. Rivian's announcement had shaken things up. Now, Tesla was racing not just against time, but against a well-financed rival that was moving at lightning speed. Alex gathered the team for an emergency meeting to strategize their next steps. "This is it. Rivian is going to throw everything they have at us. We need to be prepared." Claire spoke first. "We have the advantage in terms of integration. Our energy ecosystem is already functional. But we need to refine it. We need to speed up production and make sure we're scaling at the right pace. If Rivian has the resources to match us, we can't afford to be late to market." Alex nodded. "Exactly. And we can't forget about the user experience. Our system needs to be seamless, effortless. People need to feel like Tesla isn't just giving them tech, we're giving them a lifestyle." Mark, one of the senior engineers, chimed in. "And we need to make sure we're ready for the long term. This isn't just about getting to market first, it's about creating something that will last and evolve over the next decade. Alex smiled. That's exactly it. This is bigger than any of us. Tesla's mission has always been about sustainability, innovation, and disruption. Let's make sure we live up to that. As the team delved into their next steps, Alex couldn't help but feel the weight of what lay ahead. Rivian was fast, but Tesla wasn't going to back down. They had a vision, and they had the people to bring it to life. The race was on, and Tesla wasn't going to lose. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of activity. Tesla's home energy ecosystem was now at the forefront of the renewable energy conversation, and Alex's team worked tirelessly to keep the momentum going. But despite their success, there was a nagging feeling that something was looming on the horizon, a storm that could shake everything they had worked for. Rivian's recent announcement had shaken Tesla's confidence, and while they were ahead in terms of product functionality, the competition was quickly catching up. It wasn't just Rivian anymore. Ford, General Motors, and even some new players in the tech space were all working on their own renewable energy solutions. Alex had seen the writing on the wall. The energy industry was changing, and while Tesla had taken the first big step, they couldn't afford to get comfortable. They needed to evolve faster, innovate harder, and do everything they could to stay one step ahead. It was late one evening when Alex sat in his office, staring at the designs for the next iteration of the energy system. The system was good, no, it was great, but Alex knew it needed to be better. He could feel the pressure mounting, and the stakes were becoming higher with every passing day. The deadline for mass production was fast approaching, and the team still had work to do to perfect the software, hardware, and overall integration. He couldn't shake the thought of what would happen if they didn't get it right. What if Rivian or Ford managed to beat them to market with a comparable system? The impact on Tesla's brand would be disastrous. It wasn't just about getting the product out there, it was about showing the world that Tesla was the company to lead the future of energy. As the clock ticked past midnight, Alex leaned back in his chair, his mind racing through possibilities. The solution was simple in theory: they needed to bring something to the table that no one else could match, a unique selling point that would make their system stand out in the crowded market. But what? It wasn't just about technology anymore, it was about the customer experience. Tesla's strength had always been the seamless integration of design and function. They needed to make the home energy system just as intuitive and effortless as their cars. The next morning, Alex gathered his core team to discuss the strategy for the coming months. Claire, Mark, Ben, and the others filled the conference room, each looking worn from the long days of development. But Alex could sense the resolve in their eyes. They knew the task ahead of them was monumental, but they were committed. "We need to do something no one else has done," Alex began, his voice firm. "The competition is pushing hard, and they're moving fast. We have to not only match them, we need to surpass them. We need to create an experience that makes Tesla's energy system a no-brainer for the customer." Mark raised an eyebrow. "You mean, something beyond the technology?" Alex nodded. "Exactly. The technology is there. But we need to make this system a part of people's lives. It can't just be another piece of hardware in their homes. It needs to feel like an extension of who they are, something they can't live without." Claire spoke up. "You're talking about creating an emotional connection, not just a product." "Exactly," Alex said. "People don't just buy Tesla cars for the tech, they buy into the vision. They buy into the idea that they're part of something bigger. We need to create that same feeling with the energy system. It needs to be more than just a device, it has to feel like a lifestyle choice." Ben, one of the lead engineers, crossed his arms. "But how do we achieve that? How do we make energy management a lifestyle?" Alex paused for a moment, considering the question. "We focus on integration. We build a system that learns from the user and adapts to their needs. We make it seamless, almost invisible to the user. We also need to ensure that every aspect of the system is easy to manage. No confusing apps or complicated settings. It should feel natural to control, like driving a Tesla. It should just work. The room was silent as the team took in Alex's words. It was an ambitious plan, but it felt right. This was the direction they needed to go in. As the next few weeks unfolded, the team's focus shifted from purely technical development to enhancing the user experience. They spent long hours fine-tuning the interface, making it intuitive, and adding features that would set Tesla's energy ecosystem apart from the competition. They introduced machine learning algorithms that would allow the system to anticipate the energy needs of the home, adjusting not only to the household's habits but also to external factors like weather patterns and time of day. But Alex knew that technology alone wouldn't win them the war. They needed to sell a vision, a promise that Tesla wasn't just revolutionizing energy, they were reshaping how people lived. To do that, they had to communicate the power of their system in a way that would resonate with their customers on an emotional level. Meanwhile, Elon had been largely quiet during this stage of development, working behind the scenes to prepare for Tesla's next big move. Alex knew that the company's founder had a vision for the future of energy that went far beyond just residential homes. Elon had always talked about creating a world where energy was abundant and accessible to everyone, whether that was through solar power, electric vehicles, or Tesla's energy storage solutions. But Alex also knew that Elon was counting on them to succeed in this next phase. One afternoon, as Alex was finishing up a meeting with the team, he received a message from Elon. "Meet me in 15 minutes in the conference room. I have something important to discuss." Alex's heart skipped a beat. He wasn't sure what to expect. Elon had a way of changing course without warning, and this could be anything from a game-changing opportunity to a complete shift in priorities. When Alex arrived at the conference room, Elon was already there, looking his usual intense self. He barely acknowledged Alex as he gestured to the whiteboard in front of him. "We need to think bigger," Elon said, his voice sharp. "We've been talking about residential energy, but we're missing something. If we're going to lead the future of energy, we need to go global. I want to see Tesla's energy system integrated into every business, every school, every government building. It's time we think beyond the home." Alex felt a spark of excitement. Elon's words struck a chord with him. They weren't just building a product, they were building the future. "What do you have in mind?" Alex asked. "We're going to take this global," Elon said, his eyes gleaming with that signature determination. "We're going to create partnerships with governments, with businesses. This isn't just about selling products. This is about changing the energy infrastructure of the entire world." Alex leaned forward, his mind racing. This was the kind of vision that could redefine everything. But it was also an enormous leap. Could they scale up that fast? Would the team be able to keep up with such an ambitious vision? Elon smiled. "We're going to move quickly. But we need to make sure the product is perfect. Everything rides on getting the system right." Alex knew this was Tesla's defining moment. The world was watching, and the competition was fierce. But if they could pull this off, they wouldn't just be changing the future of energy, they would be changing the way the world worked. The intensity of the past few months had taken its toll on Alex and the Tesla team, but the vision Elon had laid out in their last meeting fueled a new wave of determination. It wasn't just about being the leader in electric vehicles anymore. Tesla was now setting its sights on completely disrupting the global energy landscape. The team was faced with a daunting task: take the already impressive home energy ecosystem and scale it to a global level, integrating it into not only homes but also businesses, schools, and government institutions. The meeting with Elon had been a turning point. Alex knew they were stepping into uncharted territory, and while there was a sense of excitement, there was also a deep sense of urgency. Rivian, Ford, and several new players in the energy sector had already caught wind of Tesla's ambitions, and they were moving quickly to respond. Tesla had to lead, not just in technology, but in execution. But this wasn't just about competition anymore. This was about Tesla's core mission, ensuring the world's transition to sustainable energy. And that meant doing the impossible. The following weeks were filled with constant brainstorming and strategizing. Alex and Claire spent hours meeting with their counterparts in the solar and energy storage departments to discuss the potential of scaling up. The focus was clear: everything needed to be faster, smarter, and more integrated. "We need to ensure that this system isn't just for people who can afford it," Claire said one morning as they reviewed the new cost models. "We need to find a way to make it accessible to everyone, no matter where they are or how much they earn. We need to make sustainable energy the norm, not a luxury." Alex nodded thoughtfully. He knew she was right. They couldn't afford to alienate potential customers based on price. "Let's keep the design as modular as possible," he suggested. "We need to allow people to add components as they go, scaling the system to their needs. This way, we can reduce the initial investment but still deliver a high-quality, integrated solution." The team began working on different models, including a basic entry-level version of the system, which could be upgraded with additional solar panels, battery storage, and energy management systems as customers' needs grew. At the same time, they started looking beyond just the residential market. Alex knew that in order to truly change the world, they had to go beyond just individuals. They needed to integrate Tesla's energy ecosystem into businesses, schools, hospitals, and government buildings. This wasn't just about reducing carbon footprints for individuals, it was about revolutionizing how entire sectors operated, making sustainable energy the backbone of modern infrastructure. One of the first major steps in this global push was the launch of the Tesla Energy for Business initiative. The idea was to offer large-scale energy solutions tailored to corporations and institutions. By equipping office buildings, factories, and public infrastructure with Tesla's energy ecosystem, they could drastically reduce their carbon footprints while lowering their operational costs. Tesla's energy division quickly mobilized, focusing on partnerships with corporations, energy providers, and government agencies. It wasn't easy. Convincing large entities to make the switch to renewable energy at a large scale took time, but Alex knew they couldn't afford to waste it. He spent the next few weeks meeting with CEOs and government officials, including a high-stakes meeting with a major European utility company. The idea was to show them that Tesla wasn't just offering another energy system, they were offering a complete ecosystem that could help these companies meet their sustainability goals while also reducing long-term energy costs. "Tesla is not just about creating products, we are about creating lasting change," Alex told the group of executives as they sat around the conference table. "What we are offering isn't just about saving money, it's about future-proofing your energy infrastructure and positioning your company as a leader in the transition to a sustainable world." The executives were intrigued, but they also had their doubts. The transition would be expensive, and many had concerns about the practicality of integrating solar energy and storage into their existing systems. But Alex and his team were prepared. They had case studies, financial projections, and all the data needed to show that Tesla's energy ecosystem could not only meet their needs but exceed expectations. After a lengthy discussion, the utility company agreed to a pilot program, giving Tesla the green light to begin equipping a few of their major facilities with the system. The pilot was a major success. Over the next 6 months, Tesla installed solar panels, energy storage units, and power management systems across the European company's offices and factories. The results were nothing short of groundbreaking. Energy consumption was reduced by 40%, and operational costs dropped by 30%. As Tesla's energy system proved itself in the business sector, other large corporations began taking notice. By the end of the year, Tesla had secured partnerships with several major players, from global tech giants to large government institutions. The team's hard work was paying off, and the world was starting to take notice. But it wasn't just business leaders who were paying attention. The media had begun to catch wind of Tesla's success and ambition, and stories of their work with corporations, schools, and government institutions began to spread. In a special feature, Time magazine dubbed Tesla's energy system, the future of power, highlighting how the company was changing the way energy was produced, consumed, and managed around the globe. Despite the success in the corporate and institutional sectors, the pressure on Alex and the team was mounting. There was still so much to do. They had proven that Tesla's energy system could work at a large scale, but now they had to prove that they could make it available to the masses. The launch of the entry-level product was critical, and it had to be flawless. Alex and Claire held a strategy session one morning to discuss the next steps. "We've got the corporate deals, we've got the media attention, but now we need to make sure we're reaching the average consumer," Alex said. "We have to make sure that Tesla's energy system becomes as ubiquitous as our cars." Claire nodded. "The key to success here is going to be affordability and ease of use. We need to make sure that every household, whether it's in the US, India, or Europe, can access the system. It's not just about making it affordable, it's about making it simple. And reliable," Alex added. "We're not just selling technology, we're selling a lifestyle. We need to make sure it works, every time." They agreed that the next phase of the launch would focus on global expansion. Tesla's energy system would be rolled out in select countries where renewable energy was a priority, and the team would continue to refine the system based on user feedback. The company was also preparing to announce a major initiative to help subsidize solar energy in developing regions, making the energy ecosystem accessible to people who needed it most. The transition was happening. Tesla's energy ecosystem was no longer just a groundbreaking technology, it was becoming a movement, a force that was reshaping the global energy landscape. The next few months would be critical as they worked to solidify their position as the leader in the renewable energy revolution. But even as Alex felt a sense of accomplishment, he knew there was still so much left to do. The real challenge had only just begun. By the time the new year arrived, the energy industry had already begun to take shape under Tesla's relentless push for change. The solar and energy storage systems that Alex and his team had painstakingly developed were now deployed in key regions around the globe. Tesla wasn't just a car company anymore, it was quickly becoming synonymous with sustainable energy solutions. Alex stood on the balcony of his office, overlooking the sprawling Tesla campus below, where teams were busy assembling vehicles, working on energy solutions, and planning for the future. He had come a long way since that first fateful meeting with Elon Musk. The company was on the verge of something monumental. They were no longer just selling electric cars, they were changing the world. But the weight of it all hadn't escaped Alex. The pressure to execute flawlessly was only intensifying. In the weeks following the massive success of their corporate and institutional partnerships, the global rollout of Tesla's energy systems continued. Alex had personally overseen the implementation in Europe and was preparing to do the same in Asia and Latin America. As Tesla reached new milestones in business, they also began targeting the consumer market. The company had already made waves by introducing the entry-level version of their energy storage system, a more affordable solution for households in developing nations and emerging markets. But as Tesla began selling their energy solutions in bulk, a new challenge arose: competition. The energy market had become an even more intense battleground. Established utility companies, entrenched in their monopolies for decades, were beginning to take notice. Major oil and gas corporations, too, were pivoting rapidly to meet the demand for renewable energy, creating new startups, pushing their own solar products, and developing storage solutions to rival Tesla's. Most notably, Amazon had made waves with the announcement of its own solar power division, promising to offer affordable home solar products directly to consumers. The news sent shockwaves through the industry, and Alex knew that Tesla was in for a tough fight ahead. Amazon. Claire's voice crackled through the phone during one of their early morning strategy calls. "They're going after our market." "Seriously?" Alex ran his fingers through his hair, trying to keep calm. "Yes. They've rolled out their own line of solar products with a focus on affordability. They've got the distribution network, the brand, and they're not going to back down. I don't like it, Claire muttered. We've worked too hard for this. We can't let them eat our lunch. Alex's voice was steady but with an edge of determination. It's not just about competing with Amazon. This is bigger than that. We need to make sure that Tesla's energy ecosystem isn't just a product, it's a movement. We have the vision, the innovation, and the infrastructure. We've already set the bar. Now we need to raise it. The conversation shifted to tactics, what Tesla would do next to stay ahead of the competition. Alex knew they had to respond strategically. Tesla had the technological edge, but the race for global adoption wasn't just about building the best product. It was about reaching the most people, quickly and effectively. One of the key advantages Tesla had over its competitors was its network of loyal customers. The Tesla brand was synonymous with cutting-edge technology and a sustainable future, and people who drove Teslas believed in the company's mission. Alex realized that Tesla could leverage its existing customer base to push the energy product further. Let's start a referral program, Alex proposed during a meeting with his leadership team. We know that our Tesla customers are passionate about what we do. Let's incentivize them to help us spread the word about the energy ecosystem. They decided to offer current Tesla owners special discounts, exclusive products, and even early access to new energy products if they referred friends and family to the energy division. This move would help turn Tesla's car customers into energy customers, creating a seamless and integrated experience for the Tesla lifestyle. At the same time, Tesla began ramping up its efforts to target not just consumers but also government institutions. As global interest in sustainability grew, more governments were looking for ways to reduce their carbon footprints. Alex knew that if Tesla could win over government contracts, it would solidify the company's position as the leader in sustainable energy. One of the most significant opportunities was in India, where the government had launched an ambitious program to transition to renewable energy. The country's rapidly growing population and energy needs meant that the government was willing to experiment with new solutions. Tesla was invited to pitch its energy ecosystem for the country's national infrastructure project. Alex traveled to India to meet with government officials, pitching Tesla's vision for the future of energy. His presentation was met with skepticism at first. After all, India was still heavily reliant on coal and traditional energy sources. But Alex made the case that Tesla's energy system wasn't just a luxury, it was a solution that would help India leapfrog over the mistakes of the past and transition directly to sustainable energy. After several weeks of meetings, Tesla was awarded the contract to install large-scale energy systems in government buildings, hospitals, and schools throughout the country. It was a major victory, not just for Tesla but for the future of renewable energy worldwide. As Tesla's energy division expanded globally, Alex and the team continued to face challenges. In addition to the competition from Amazon and other new players in the market, Tesla's own growth created logistical hurdles. The supply chain was stretched to its limits, and the company struggled to meet the surging demand for energy systems in certain regions. There were delays in production, backlogs in orders, and quality control issues. We can't afford these kinds of delays, Alex said, pacing around the conference room. Every day we're not shipping, we're losing ground to competitors. We have to streamline production. Claire nodded. We need more partnerships. If we can't keep up with demand, we need to expand our production capabilities. Maybe we need to open new factories in Asia. Alex took a deep breath. That's the plan. But we need to be careful. This isn't just about producing more units, it's about maintaining quality. If we sacrifice quality to meet demand, we risk losing everything. Despite the hurdles, Alex knew that the real tipping point was close. Tesla was at the forefront of a revolution, and as the world began to see the potential of clean, sustainable energy, the demand would only continue to grow. If Tesla could stay ahead of the competition, maintain its quality, and scale up production efficiently, it could change the energy landscape forever. The battle wasn't over yet. But Alex could feel the momentum building. They were close. The tipping point Alex had sensed was now more than just a distant hope, it was becoming a palpable reality. Tesla's energy division had reached a critical juncture. With massive global expansion underway, the pressure was on to not only execute flawlessly but also to maintain the innovative spirit that had set Tesla apart from the very beginning. As new markets opened up and the competition grew fiercer by the day, Alex felt the weight of the moment more than ever. They couldn't afford to fail. It was early one morning when Alex received an urgent call from Claire. She was in Shanghai, overseeing the first Tesla energy system rollout in China, and her voice was thick with concern. "We have a problem," she said. "Our partners at the manufacturing plant just called. There's a delay in the production of the new Powerwall units. It's a critical part of the energy ecosystem, and if we can't get it out the door soon, we risk losing our launch window in Asia." Alex frowned, pacing his office. "How long are we talking about here?" "Could be weeks," Claire replied. "It's the supplier for the battery cells, they've hit a major snag in production. They're not giving us a clear timeline for when they'll be able to catch up." Alex felt a familiar sense of anxiety creeping in, but he refused to let it overwhelm him. The competition was already working at full speed, and the global energy transition was happening now, not in a few months. The stakes had never been higher. "Do whatever it takes to get them back on track," Alex said. "If we have to send our people in to help, we will. This is non-negotiable. We can't let this slow us down." The plan was set into motion immediately, with Claire's team working overtime to manage the situation. Alex knew that this delay, though frustrating, could be a blessing in disguise. Tesla had faced setbacks before and overcome them through sheer innovation and grit. If they could turn this problem into a solution that worked even better than the original plan, they'd come out stronger than ever. Back at headquarters, Alex called a meeting with the leadership team. The urgency in the air was thick, as everyone had realized the true magnitude of the situation. "Here's what we're going to do," Alex began, his voice firm. "We're going to push forward on our next-generation battery technology. If we can't get the supply chain back up to speed with the current product, we're going to leapfrog it. We already have prototypes of the new battery technology, and it's time to accelerate production." The room fell silent. The new battery technology had been in the works for months but wasn't yet ready for mass production. It had the potential to offer significantly longer energy storage, better performance in varying climates, and lower costs. If Tesla could bring it to market faster than anticipated, they would not only solve their immediate problem but also cement their position as the undisputed leader in the energy revolution. "I know it's risky," Alex continued. "But I believe it's the only way to truly break the barriers standing in front of us." The team was energized by Alex's confidence. They knew the task ahead of them was monumental, but if anyone could pull off a technological leap this bold, it was Tesla. The days that followed were a blur of activity. The engineers and production teams worked around the clock to accelerate the new batteries' production. Meanwhile, Claire's team in Shanghai scrambled to address the existing supply chain issues, doing everything in their power to expedite shipments of the current Powerwall units that were still moving through the pipeline. It wasn't just about technology, Alex also focused on relationships. He reached out to key partners across the world, ensuring they understood Tesla's commitment to overcoming the challenges. He met with government officials in Europe to update them on the progress of Tesla's energy rollout and solidified a deal with a renewable energy provider in South America to expand Tesla's footprint even further. Despite the setbacks, Alex refused to let the momentum slow. Each success, each small victory along the way felt like an affirmation of their larger mission. The world was ready for change, and Tesla was going to lead it. After nearly a month of tireless effort, Tesla was able to launch its new battery technology in China, albeit with some delays. The product rollout in Asia was not as smooth as Alex had hoped, but it was a breakthrough. The team had exceeded even their own expectations. The new batteries, when fully integrated into the energy systems, showed incredible performance results, more than doubling the previous energy storage capacity. The reaction from customers was overwhelmingly positive. It was a game changer. The news of Tesla's new battery technology spread like wildfire. Across the globe, governments, businesses, and consumers took notice. Alex knew that Tesla had not only overcome a massive hurdle but had also redefined what was possible in the energy space. And yet, even as the team celebrated the success, Alex was already thinking ahead. The competition was still relentless, and as much as Tesla had broken through a significant barrier, the race was far from over. Rivian's energy division had been making strides, and other tech companies like Google and Apple had begun to dip their toes into the energy market. It was only a matter of time before more startups emerged to challenge Tesla's position. "We can't rest on our laurels," Alex said during a follow-up meeting with the leadership team. "We've made huge strides, but we need to double down on our mission. The competition is fierce, and they're learning from our moves. What's our next step?" Claire asked, her voice resolute. "We need to focus on partnerships," Alex replied. "We're not just selling products, we're selling a vision. We need to form alliances with governments and corporations, making Tesla's energy ecosystem the backbone of global infrastructure. And we can't forget the human element. We need to ensure that Tesla's mission resonates with people everywhere, not just businesses or governments. If we want to change the world, we need to make every single person believe in the power of clean energy." In the weeks that followed, Alex's vision began to take shape. Tesla launched a global campaign, Power the Future, aimed at educating the world about the possibilities of sustainable energy. The campaign included partnerships with top universities, government agencies, and grassroots organizations, showing people everywhere how Tesla's energy solutions could transform their lives. Alex also returned to the idea that had started it all: the future was electric. As Tesla continued to innovate, they now realized that their energy products needed to be integrated not just into homes and businesses but into everyday life. The Tesla ecosystem wasn't just about energy, it was about creating a future where technology, sustainability, and human progress were intertwined. It was clear that Tesla was no longer just fighting for market share in an industry, it was fighting for a better world. The path ahead was uncertain, but the one thing Alex knew for sure was that Tesla was ready to keep breaking barriers. The energy world was abuzz. The release of Tesla's new battery technology had turned heads, but now Alex knew that the next step would determine if they could truly redefine the future. After the success in China, the company was positioned for further growth, but Tesla's competitors were not sitting idle. The race to dominate the clean energy revolution had entered a new phase. In the boardroom at Tesla's headquarters, Alex stood before a screen displaying global maps, energy consumption statistics, and Tesla's new energy production figures. The team sat around the table, their eyes fixed on the charts. Claire was next to him, scanning the data with a focused look on her face. "We've made progress, no doubt," Alex said, his voice steady but underscored with a sense of urgency. "But if we're going to secure the future of Tesla's energy division, we need to act fast. Our competitors are catching up, and if we don't expand, we risk losing our momentum. We need to identify new markets where we can make a real impact." The data on the screen highlighted key areas where energy demand was rapidly growing: Sub-Saharan Africa, Southeast Asia, and Eastern Europe. These were regions that Tesla had only scratched the surface in terms of energy infrastructure. Alex could see the opportunity unfolding before him. These emerging markets were ready for the kinds of solutions Tesla could offer, but they also presented significant logistical challenges. "What are our options for expansion?" Claire asked, leaning forward. "We're already in discussions with governments in Southeast Asia," Alex began, tapping the screen. "But Africa is a massive untapped opportunity. The problem, though, is that we need to rethink how we approach infrastructure there. Many regions don't have the kind of grid systems we're accustomed to, and solar power could be a game changer, but only if we rethink our models." The conversation shifted to strategy. Tesla had always prided itself on being a disruptor, but this new phase would require a new kind of disruption. The company needed to create energy systems that didn't rely on existing infrastructure but were designed for areas that were still building their energy grids from scratch. "We're talking about going off-grid," Alex said. "This is about creating a sustainable energy solution for regions where there's no reliable electricity infrastructure. Solar microgrids, standalone energy units that work independently, and solutions that don't require traditional connections to a power plant or grid. We already have the technology, it's time to scale it to the places that need it the most." The team immediately began brainstorming ways to bring Tesla's energy solutions to places like rural Africa and underserved parts of Southeast Asia. Alex knew this was a bold move, but it was one that could have an even greater impact than their original market. If they could provide affordable and reliable power to these areas, they could change the lives of millions and set the stage for a truly global energy shift. Weeks later, Alex found himself traveling to Nairobi, Kenya, a place that had become a focal point for Tesla's plans. The potential to revolutionize the continent's energy infrastructure was undeniable. Kenya, like many other parts of sub-Saharan Africa, was dependent on fossil fuels for power, but the sun shone relentlessly over the vast savanna, offering a renewable solution that could change everything. Alex had partnered with local governments, nonprofits, and several renewable energy advocates to push forward Tesla's entry into the market. The goal was simple: provide affordable, off-grid energy to rural villages and small businesses that had never had access to reliable electricity. When Alex landed in Nairobi, he was greeted by an enthusiastic team of engineers, local leaders, and sustainability advocates. They were ready to begin their first large-scale solar project. The initiative would create a series of solar-powered microgrids, each designed to power dozens of homes and businesses at a time. Alex stood with the local government officials in a village on the outskirts of Nairobi, looking out over a field where solar panels were being installed on the rooftops of small buildings. He could see the excitement in the villagers' eyes as they gathered to watch the installation. For them, this was more than just an energy system, it was a chance to change the course of their lives. No more power outages. No more relying on expensive and unreliable generators. This was a lifeline. As the solar panels were activated, the first village in the pilot program was officially powered by Tesla's technology. The lights flickered on, casting a warm glow over the faces of the villagers. Alex felt a wave of emotion hit him. This was why he had come to Tesla in the first place. This was what it was all about, making a tangible difference in the world. But even as the celebration continued, Alex couldn't shake the thought that there was still so much to do. This was just the beginning. The challenge of scaling this technology, not just in Africa but around the world, was a monumental task. The team would need to refine their systems, improve their efficiencies, and build strong partnerships with local governments and businesses to ensure long-term success. Back in the States, the news of Tesla's success in Kenya spread quickly, with both excitement and skepticism. Critics questioned whether Tesla's off-grid approach could work at scale, while others wondered if it was simply a feel-good initiative without a real path to profitability. But Alex knew better. This wasn't about making a quick buck, it was about solving one of the world's most pressing problems: access to clean, affordable energy. In the following weeks, Tesla began to see a groundswell of interest from other countries in sub-Saharan Africa. Governments, nonprofits, and energy organizations reached out to Alex and the team, eager to bring Tesla's energy solutions to their regions. Tesla wasn't just a company anymore, it was becoming a symbol of a cleaner, brighter future for people who had long been neglected by traditional energy providers. Alex met with his leadership team in the Tesla headquarters to assess their next steps. The potential in Africa was enormous, but the logistical challenges were not to be underestimated. "We've got a long way to go," Alex said, leaning forward in his chair. "But the traction we're gaining here is incredible. We've just scratched the surface in Kenya, and the demand in other regions is already coming in fast." We need to expand our operations to cover more areas, but we also need to make sure we're doing it sustainably. We don't want to burn out, we need to build these communities up, not just give them temporary solutions. Claire nodded. This is a big leap for us, but it's the future. Off-grid solar could be the key to providing power to billions who are still living without it. Let's make sure we're ready to scale. Alex's vision for Tesla was becoming a reality, one community at a time. As Tesla's energy system spread across Africa, the company began exploring similar initiatives in Southeast Asia, where countries like Indonesia and the Philippines also faced massive energy gaps. The world was watching. Would Tesla be able to overcome the challenges of scaling in these new markets, or would the logistical hurdles prove too great? The risks were high, but Alex knew that they were on the cusp of something far bigger than just creating another energy company. They were on the brink of changing the world. It had been a year since Tesla's energy division embarked on its bold move into sub-Saharan Africa, and the results were nothing short of transformative. Alex stood in the heart of a bustling village in rural Kenya, watching as the local schoolchildren ran around beneath the bright lights powered entirely by solar energy. It was hard to believe that only months ago, this very village was in total darkness at night, relying on expensive and dangerous kerosene lamps. Now, thanks to Tesla's solar microgrids, the future felt brighter. "Alex, look at this," Claire called out from across the schoolyard. She was standing beside a monitor that tracked the energy output in real time for the newly installed solar system. "We've exceeded expectations on energy efficiency. Our solar panels are collecting more energy than we anticipated, and we're generating a surplus. These microgrids are working better than we ever thought possible." Alex smiled. The hard work was paying off. The partnership between Tesla, local governments, and non-profit organizations had turned into a thriving ecosystem. Local businesses were flourishing, children could now study under the bright lights at night, and the sense of hope that filled the air was palpable. But even as Alex took in the success, he felt the weight of the next big challenge looming. The world had been watching, and Tesla had proven it could succeed in Africa. Now, the question was, could they scale it globally? The next morning, Alex gathered the leadership team in a war room, a room full of digital screens, maps, and strategy reports that painted a picture of Tesla's next steps. "We've proven that our model works," Alex began. "But now it's time to scale. Africa has been a huge success, and Southeast Asia is on the horizon. But we need to ensure our systems are not only efficient but adaptable. We're moving into markets with diverse needs, different climates, different grid challenges. We can't apply a one-size-fits-all solution." Claire nodded. "That's right. If we want to be able to expand into regions like Southeast Asia and even Eastern Europe, we need to address cultural and logistical differences. What works in Kenya might not work in the Philippines, for instance. We'll need regional customization." Alex rubbed his chin thoughtfully. "Exactly. We've been relying on solar technology, but what about wind? What if we can integrate hybrid systems that combine solar, wind, and even hydro where possible? It could give us the flexibility to power more remote locations. We need to diversify our offerings." A murmur of agreement rippled through the room. Alex's vision was clear. Tesla wasn't just going to revolutionize energy, they were going to create a comprehensive, global energy solution, accessible to all corners of the world. As Tesla began to refine its approach to scaling its operations, Alex faced a crucial question: how could they effectively deliver these new systems to markets where electricity wasn't the only challenge? There were cultural, regulatory, and infrastructural hurdles to overcome in every new market Tesla entered. For example, the Indonesian government had been wary of foreign companies coming in to disrupt their local energy systems. In some parts of Eastern Europe, bureaucratic red tape slowed everything down, while in parts of South America, communities had their own long-standing energy traditions that needed to be respected. Alex realized that simply providing a product wouldn't be enough. They needed local teams that could navigate these landscapes. They would need to partner with local leaders, community organizers, business owners, and government officials, to ensure their energy systems were truly transformative, not just transactional. One evening, as Alex was preparing to board a flight for another high-stakes meeting in Brazil, he received an unexpected call. It was from his old mentor, Dr. Michael Foster, who had helped him develop Tesla's first prototypes of battery technology back in the early days. Michael had been following Tesla's work in Africa, and he had a suggestion that stopped Alex in his tracks. "Alex," Michael's voice crackled through the phone. "I've been thinking about something. I know Tesla's solar microgrids are working wonders in Africa, but what if you integrated a new battery technology into those systems? We've made breakthroughs in energy storage that could further boost your solar systems, create a self-sustaining, off-grid power solution that works year-round, even during the rainy season." Alex's eyes widened. The idea had its potential. If Tesla could integrate cutting-edge battery technology into their off-grid solutions, they could offer a consistent, uninterrupted power supply. This could change everything for communities that suffered from unreliable or seasonal energy. "Tell me more," Alex said, his voice sharp with interest. Michael went on to explain that they had developed a new generation of batteries that could store excess energy produced by solar systems, making it available even when the sun wasn't shining. This battery was designed to perform well in extreme conditions and could work in areas that faced frequent weather disruptions, such as monsoons or winters with low sunlight. By the time Alex landed in Brazil, he was already in discussions with Tesla's engineering team and Michael to explore the integration of this new battery technology into their global solar strategy. The implications were enormous. If they could make this technology work, they would have a much more resilient energy solution that could scale even further. While working on the integration of new battery tech, Alex also had to consider a major new challenge that was emerging: competition. A startup called SolarWave, founded by a group of engineers and tech enthusiasts, had quickly gained traction in the clean energy space. They had developed a small but effective solar battery solution and were aggressively trying to capture market share in Southeast Asia. Their rapid growth and innovative marketing were starting to make waves in places where Tesla had recently made inroads. At first, Alex had dismissed them as a small player. But as SolarWave began to attract funding and partnerships, Alex realized that Tesla's leadership was far from guaranteed. The competition was learning from Tesla's successes and was beginning to innovate on its own. In the following weeks, Alex met with his team to discuss Tesla's strategy in response. "We can't just be a market leader in energy, we need to be a market shaker," he said, looking at the team. "It's not enough to just keep improving our technology. We need to rethink how we approach the market. We need to build more strategic partnerships, get ahead of the competition, and make sure we're always one step ahead." Claire was quick to respond. "We've already been integrating solar with local businesses, but what if we went further? What if we partnered with tech companies like Google or Amazon to create a hybrid platform where their cloud solutions are paired with our energy solutions? We can give them real-time data on energy usage and make our systems even smarter." Alex thought for a moment. "That's exactly the kind of thinking we need. Let's integrate smart technology into our energy solutions and partner with tech companies. We can't just sell solar power, we need to sell an energy ecosystem. We'll become the hub for clean energy and smart solutions." By the end of the quarter, Tesla's energy division had transformed its approach. They integrated the new battery technology, ramped up production of the solar systems, and began building strategic partnerships with tech companies. As Tesla's global energy expansion gained momentum, Alex found himself on the edge of something bigger than he had ever imagined. The company was not only pushing the boundaries of clean energy, Tesla was creating an entirely new ecosystem that could change the future of the planet. Tesla had come a long way since its first steps into clean energy solutions. The expansion into sub-Saharan Africa had exceeded all expectations, and the integration of the new, cutting-edge battery technology was poised to make their systems even more powerful. But despite the successes, the growing competition from startups like SolarWave, and the increasing pressure from larger, well-established players in the energy industry, meant that Alex's work was far from over. As Alex sat in his office at Tesla's headquarters in Palo Alto, California, a flurry of emails and messages from different parts of the world flooded his inbox. While the Africa initiative was a resounding success, the Southeast Asia market was proving to be more complicated. Local governments had begun to move forward with their own renewable energy projects, and established energy companies were rapidly adapting to the clean energy trend. "Alex, we need to talk," Claire's voice crackled through the intercom, snapping Alex out of his thoughts. He glanced at the clock, 8 a.m. It had been a long few days of meetings, but he knew this was important. He gestured to Claire to come in. She entered, holding a stack of reports in her hands. "We've just received the latest market analysis for Southeast Asia," she said, dropping the documents on his desk. "The competition is fierce, and our projections are falling short. SolarWave's aggressive expansion in the Philippines has cut into our market share, and now they're eyeing Indonesia. We've got to step up our game." Alex took a deep breath. He had known this day was coming, but seeing the numbers made the threat feel much more real. SolarWave had figured out how to effectively deploy low-cost, lightweight solar batteries that were easy to install, which had made them popular in markets that Tesla had targeted for expansion. Worse, their aggressive pricing strategy undercut Tesla's premium positioning. "Can we increase our pricing flexibility?" Alex asked, leaning forward. "Maybe offer financing options that make it easier for these regions to access our systems?" Claire shook her head. "That's part of it, but it's not the full solution. The bigger problem is that we're still seen as a high-end, premium solution. SolarWave is offering a much more affordable option, and it's hard to compete with that kind of pricing." Alex stared at the reports. They had to make a move. But what move could outsmart a competitor who was playing by different rules? Tesla had always thrived on innovation, but here, it felt like they were fighting an uphill battle against a well-financed, nimble competitor who knew exactly how to exploit the lower-cost model that Tesla had not fully embraced. Suddenly, an idea struck him. What if we took our modular energy storage systems and created a low-cost, entry-level product that could compete with SolarWave? We could create a scalable solution for regions where energy access is critical and price is more important than premium features. Claire's eyes lit up. "That's actually brilliant. We can leverage our existing battery technology but scale it back, design it for small businesses and households that can't afford our premium systems. It could open up a whole new customer segment for us." Tesla's engineering team went to work on the concept, with a focus on reducing production costs without sacrificing the core benefits of Tesla's technology. The goal was to make sure that the new product could be offered at a competitive price point while still providing reliable, sustainable power. The key was to keep the modularity and scalability of the systems intact while stripping down unnecessary features to reduce costs. Meanwhile, back in Southeast Asia, Alex and Claire traveled to the Philippines to meet with local government officials and business leaders. The region had been at the center of the clean energy push, with the Philippines being one of the first countries to fully commit to solar energy. Tesla's initial attempt to enter the market had been met with mixed results, especially as SolarWave had established a strong presence. But Alex was determined to find a way to turn the tide. The Philippines, with its high solar potential and frequent power outages, was an ideal market for Tesla's off-grid solutions. Despite SolarWave's market share, there was still room for a high-quality solution, if Tesla could convince the right partners. At a meeting with a local energy cooperative, Alex and Claire presented Tesla's vision for the country's future. They highlighted the success of their solar systems in Kenya and other parts of Africa, emphasizing how they had helped businesses and communities thrive by providing affordable and reliable power. "We understand the need for cost-effective energy solutions here in the Philippines," Alex explained. "But we also understand the importance of reliability. Our systems have been deployed in the most challenging environments, from the deserts of Africa to rural areas in Southeast Asia. What we offer isn't just energy, it's energy you can trust." One of the cooperative leaders, a woman named Maria, spoke up. We've seen the success of solar wave solutions, but they aren't as robust. What you're offering, while it's reliable, is priced out of reach for most of our customers. How can you compete with that? Alex nodded. That's why we're working on a new solution, a more affordable, entry-level model. We're not here to replace solar wave, we're here to provide a high-quality, sustainable solution that meets the needs of both small businesses and households. If we can make that available to you at a competitive price, we'll be able to serve more people in the Philippines and help you build a more resilient energy infrastructure. As the meeting concluded, Alex felt a renewed sense of optimism. The feedback from Maria and the cooperative was encouraging, and he knew Tesla had a chance to make a real difference in the country. If they could introduce a low-cost, reliable energy solution, they could not only compete with solar wave but also win over the market with quality and trust. Back in the States, the Tesla team worked tirelessly to refine the entry-level product. The focus was on modularity, offering a system that could scale with a family's or business's energy needs. It would be simple to install, easy to maintain, and provide the same high-quality performance that Tesla was known for, at a price point that could rival the competition. A few months later, Tesla unveiled its new energy product, the Tesla Light. It was smaller, more affordable, and designed specifically for emerging markets where access to reliable energy was limited. The product was built to be scalable, with the ability to expand as energy needs grew, and was equipped with Tesla's advanced battery technology that ensured long-term performance. The Tesla Light was rolled out across Southeast Asia, beginning with the Philippines, and the response was overwhelmingly positive. Local governments were eager to partner, and Tesla's reputation for innovation and reliability began to spread. Within 6 months, the Tesla Light had captured a significant portion of the Philippine market. The product was providing power to homes, schools, and small businesses that had previously relied on dangerous and costly alternatives. But the competition was fierce, and Solar Wave wasn't backing down. They quickly responded with their own series of new offerings, cutting their prices even further and expanding into new markets. However, Alex felt confident. Tesla's ability to adapt and scale was its strength, and the Tesla Light was a game-changer. In the midst of the growing competition, Alex had an epiphany. This wasn't just about competing with Solar Wave. It was about creating a movement toward clean, affordable, and sustainable energy. It wasn't enough to just fight for market share. Tesla had a greater mission, to make renewable energy accessible to everyone, regardless of income or location. It was time to think beyond just the business side of things. It was time to build partnerships that would unite governments, businesses, and communities in a shared vision for the future. The success of the Tesla Light in Southeast Asia was only the beginning. Alex stood at the head of a boardroom table, surrounded by his most trusted advisors and key members of Tesla's engineering and operations teams. The time had come to discuss the next big step, global expansion. "All right, everyone," Alex began, his voice steady but filled with excitement. "The Tesla Light has been a success in the Philippines, and we're already seeing the potential for scalability. But this is just one region. We've already proven our technology in Africa, and now we have to ask ourselves, what's next? How can we take this to other regions and make this a truly global phenomenon?" Claire leaned forward. "We've got to take a multi-pronged approach. Southeast Asia is just the first domino to fall. There are other markets that have already expressed interest in the Tesla Light, think of places like India, Latin America, and even parts of Eastern Europe. But we also need to be smart about it. We can't just replicate what we did in the Philippines. Each region is different, and we need to tailor our approach." Alex nodded in agreement. "That's exactly right. The solution we offer needs to address the unique challenges of each market. India, for example, has a rapidly growing population, but they also face issues with extreme weather patterns, such as monsoons and heat waves. We can't just focus on affordability, we need to make sure our systems can withstand those conditions. The conversation turned to logistics, how Tesla would navigate the complexities of expanding into countries with varied political and economic climates. Claire suggested partnerships with local governments to bypass some of the regulatory hurdles, while others on the team focused on building a strong supply chain in each region to ensure Tesla could meet the rising demand. "We have the product," Alex said. "Now, it's about ensuring we can get it into people's hands. We'll need localized production facilities. But we also need to get creative. For example, in India, many people live in rural areas where the grid doesn't reach. We'll need mobile units and portable solar solutions, something easy to deploy. And in Latin America, we'll need to build relationships with local energy co-ops to provide grassroots support." Weeks later, Tesla made its first major move outside of Southeast Asia, into India. The country had long been grappling with energy shortages and unreliable power grids, particularly in rural areas. Alex knew that Tesla's light model could make an immediate impact. His team established a partnership with India's Ministry of Renewable Energy, and local production facilities were set up in key regions, focusing on building and deploying modular solar systems that could serve entire communities, not just individual homes. In India, the Tesla Light was marketed as a tool for energy independence. For many families, the idea of being completely off the grid was revolutionary. No more waiting for the electricity company to arrive and fix the power outages. No more relying on expensive generators. They could harness the sun's power and store it in the Tesla Light batteries for use when the sun went down. To launch the program, Alex visited rural villages in Uttar Pradesh, one of the most underserved areas in the country. He stood on a dusty road, surrounded by children who had never seen an electric light. Their faces lit up with excitement as the solar-powered lights flickered on for the first time. For many of these children, it was their first time experiencing the luxury of studying after dark. "Alex, this is incredible," Claire said, watching the children gather around the new solar lights. "These kids are going to have access to something we take for granted, electricity. It'll change everything for them." Alex nodded. "This is just the beginning. We're going to change the entire energy landscape of this country." But even as Tesla celebrated its successes in India, a new threat emerged on the horizon. Major corporations, including some of the largest energy providers in the world, were beginning to see the potential of the solar market in developing nations. They had deep pockets and well-established infrastructure, two things Tesla didn't have. At the same time, SolarWave, Tesla's most formidable competitor, had continued its push into new markets. They had developed a reputation for quick deployment and low-cost solutions. In South America, they had begun to sign major contracts with local governments and businesses, and their influence was growing rapidly. Alex could feel the pressure building. Tesla had led the charge in clean energy for years, but now they were facing formidable opponents. It was clear that the race was far from over. One night, as Alex lay in bed thinking about the challenges ahead, his phone buzzed. It was a message from his old mentor, Dr. Michael Foster. "Alex, I've been thinking about something. What if we didn't just rely on solar? What if we combined solar with wind power? I know it sounds ambitious, but I've been working on some wind turbines that could pair perfectly with your systems. Imagine the possibilities, a hybrid renewable energy system that can power entire cities, no matter the weather conditions. It could be the next big breakthrough." Alex's heart skipped a beat. Wind power. Why hadn't they thought of that before? It made sense, especially in places like India and Latin America, where wind conditions could complement solar energy. Combining the two renewable sources would make Tesla's systems even more reliable, ensuring power no matter the climate. He immediately called Michael. "Let's make this happen. If we can integrate wind with solar and bring it to market at the right time, we could leap ahead of everyone else. This is the game changer we need." Tesla's engineers quickly got to work on the integration of wind power into their systems. They began developing small, efficient wind turbines that could be attached to their solar panels, creating a hybrid system capable of producing power around the clock, even when the sun wasn't shining. The new technology would be modular, easy to install, and scalable, just like the Tesla light. As they prepared to roll out the hybrid solar-wind systems, Alex knew they had to move quickly. SolarWave was already testing wind energy solutions in parts of South America, and the big energy corporations weren't far behind. But Tesla had the advantage of agility, and Alex knew they could beat their competitors to the punch. A few months later, Tesla made its global debut of the Tesla Hybrid, a combination of solar panels and wind turbines designed for the developing world. It was an elegant solution to a complex problem. By pairing wind and solar, Tesla could offer energy solutions that would work in virtually every environment, from sunny deserts to windswept plains. The response was overwhelming. In India, the hybrid system allowed entire villages to remain powered during the monsoon season, when solar alone would have fallen short. In Latin America, where wind conditions were perfect for turbine energy, the Tesla Hybrid quickly became the go-to solution for communities seeking reliable power. Tesla's hybrid system was not just a technological innovation, it was a revolutionary idea. The Tesla Hybrid could serve entire regions, power hospitals and schools, and even support large agricultural operations, providing a consistent source of energy regardless of weather conditions. It was a step forward in the global push for renewable energy, and Tesla was leading the way. Alex watched as the Tesla hybrid systems were deployed around the world, knowing this was the key to securing Tesla's position as the global leader in renewable energy. They weren't just building energy solutions, they were shaping the future of the planet. The global expansion was no longer just a goal. It was happening. And it was happening fast. The success of the Tesla Hybrid was like a spark in the night, igniting a fire that quickly spread across the world. It wasn't just a new product, it was the solution that could change the way people lived and powered their homes, schools, and businesses. Tesla had not only broken new ground in renewable energy but had positioned itself as a global leader in the race to combat climate change. But as Tesla's influence grew, so did the challenges. Alex sat in a high-rise conference room, looking out over the bustling city of São Paulo, Brazil. It was late afternoon, and the sunset painted the sky in shades of orange and pink. Yet, despite the beauty of the moment, Alex felt a tightness in his chest. It was the quiet before the storm. Claire walked into the room, her heels clicking on the marble floor. She was holding a tablet, her face a mixture of concern and determination. "We've got a problem," she said, taking a seat next to him. "Tell me," Alex replied, his voice steady but his mind racing. "The competition's catching up faster than we thought," she said, scrolling through the tablet. SolarWave just announced their partnership with a major oil company. They've secured a massive funding deal to expand their solar-wind hybrid system, and their technology is getting cheaper every day. They're also entering Brazil and other Latin American markets. They're closing in on our edge. Alex's heart sank. SolarWave had always been a thorn in their side, but this partnership with an oil company was a game-changer. Not only would they have deeper pockets, but they now had the backing of an industry that had long dominated the energy sector. If SolarWave was able to scale quickly, it could set Tesla's expansion efforts back by years. "That's not good," Alex muttered, his mind already running through potential counter-strategies. "How fast can we scale our production?" "We've been scaling as fast as possible, but this is different. They're going to have the financial muscle to push into markets faster than we can," Claire explained. "We've got to think bigger, something that sets us apart in a way SolarWave can't copy." For the first time in years, Alex felt the weight of the competition pressing in from all sides. He had always been driven by a sense of purpose, by a vision of changing the world for the better. But now, that vision was at risk. They couldn't afford to let SolarWave outpace them. "Let's go back to basics," Alex said, his voice gaining momentum. "What's Tesla about? It's not just about affordable energy, it's about making the world better, faster. We need a vision that's going to rally people, that's going to inspire them to see this as something they can't live without. We need to push the boundaries once again. If we're going to stay ahead of the competition, we need a new approach. Let's give them something they've never seen before. The next few days were a blur. Alex and his team brainstormed non-stop. They reviewed every facet of Tesla's strategy, from product development to customer engagement, from partnerships to marketing. They examined SolarWave's moves carefully, searching for a gap in the market they could exploit. Then, after a long meeting, the solution hit Alex. It was simple, yet audacious. What if we took this hybrid technology even further, he proposed, his eyes lighting up. What if we could create a fully integrated energy ecosystem that includes solar, wind, and storage, all built on one seamless platform? And instead of just selling the product, we create a service model. Customers don't just buy energy, they pay for access to it, as a subscription. Claire's eyebrows raised. You mean an all-in-one, integrated energy solution? That could work, but how do we convince people to buy into the subscription model? By making it cheaper and more flexible than anything SolarWave or the oil-backed companies can offer, Alex said confidently. We create an ecosystem that connects homes, businesses, even electric vehicles, to one energy grid. We take the power of Tesla and integrate it seamlessly into everyday life. It's not just energy, it's a lifestyle. In the following weeks, Alex led his team through an intense design phase. Tesla's engineers worked tirelessly to create a system that would unite solar, wind, and energy storage on a single platform. The new system would be scalable, from single-family homes to entire cities. It would be powered by a mix of renewable resources and be fully adaptable to each customer's needs. The most significant innovation, however, was the subscription model. Tesla would offer customers the ability to lease the system, with no upfront cost. Instead of paying for a traditional system, customers would pay for energy use on a subscription basis, with the option to upgrade or change their configurations over time. Tesla would handle maintenance and upgrades, making it a hassle-free solution for customers. We're not just selling energy systems, Alex explained to his team. We're offering an energy experience. We're going to change the way people think about how they use and access power. As Tesla's new strategy began to take shape, they launched a bold marketing campaign. The slogan, "Power Your Life, Your Way." The campaign emphasized the personal freedom customers would have by joining Tesla's energy revolution. No more reliance on traditional utility companies. No more worrying about rising electricity prices. With Tesla, people could take control of their energy future. The response was overwhelming. In Brazil, local municipalities quickly adopted the new model. Farmers in the northeast used the hybrid systems to power irrigation pumps, reducing their reliance on fossil fuels. In São Paulo, tech startups set up their offices in buildings powered entirely by Tesla's renewable energy system, reducing their carbon footprint while enhancing their brand image as forward-thinking companies. And in remote areas where the grid had never reached, Tesla brought energy access to people who had never before experienced the luxury of a constant power supply. However, as Tesla's success continued to grow, so did the scrutiny. Governments and regulators began to take notice of the company's rapidly expanding influence. While the energy revolution Tesla had sparked was welcomed by many, it also posed a direct challenge to the traditional energy establishment. The oil companies were not willing to give up their power easily. One morning, Alex received a call that made his stomach churn. "It's the government," Claire said, voice grim. "They're drafting new regulations that could significantly affect our expansion. They're proposing strict caps on renewable energy installations, and they're offering massive subsidies to oil companies to build more fossil fuel infrastructure." Alex clenched his fists. It was happening. The fight for the future of energy wasn't just going to be about technology, it was going to be a political battle. But Alex knew this wasn't the end. It was the beginning of a new phase in the revolution. The tipping point had come. Tesla had gained momentum, and the world had started to see what was possible when renewable energy was integrated into every part of daily life. But with the growth came new challenges, regulatory, political, and financial, that would test Tesla's resolve and Alex's vision for the future. Tesla was at a crossroads. Would they be able to overcome the growing opposition from the traditional energy giants? Could they continue to inspire the world to embrace renewable energy, despite the hurdles in their path? Alex stared out the window once more, but this time, he didn't feel the pressure. He felt determination. The world had changed forever, and Tesla was leading the charge. The tension in the air was palpable as Alex sat in the dimly lit boardroom of Tesla's global headquarters. His team had been working around the clock to counter the regulatory hurdles now standing between them and their vision for the future. New laws had been proposed that could severely limit Tesla's ability to expand in several key markets. The once unwavering support for renewable energy seemed to be faltering under pressure from traditional fossil fuel interests. Alex leaned forward, his fingers tapping on the table as he stared at the digital map of the world that was projected onto the wall. Every red dot signified a market that was either in jeopardy or facing roadblocks due to new government regulations. The stakes had never been higher. "This is our last shot," Alex said, his voice resolute. "We've fought too hard to let these regulations halt us now. We need a bold, final move, something that not only counters these laws but makes it impossible for governments to ignore the public demand for clean energy." Claire, ever the strategist, stood by his side. "What do you have in mind?" Alex smiled grimly. "We go directly to the people. We turn our customers into advocates for our cause. If governments are going to turn a blind eye to the future, we'll make sure the world can't look away." The concept was simple, but powerful, a global, grassroots movement to rally for renewable energy. Tesla's customer base, already loyal and passionate about the brand, would be the ones to lead the charge. The idea was to create a massive wave of public support that no government could ignore, backed by Tesla's own resources, technology, and innovation. But this was no ordinary campaign. Alex wasn't interested in just posting hashtags on social media or holding a few rallies. This was about creating a global shift in how people viewed their energy needs, one that would make it clear that the future was renewable, and it was non-negotiable. The campaign was called #PowerToThePeople. Tesla would encourage their users to share their stories of how Tesla's renewable energy solutions had transformed their lives. Whether it was a farmer in rural Brazil who no longer had to rely on diesel generators or a school in India that could now provide electricity for after-school programs, the personal testimonials flooded in. Tesla's marketing department compiled videos, images, and stories into a single, cohesive narrative that showcased not just the product but the movement it represented. The message was simple: renewable energy is not a luxury. It's a necessity. And we won't stop until everyone has access to it. But Tesla didn't stop there. They launched a groundbreaking initiative, the Tesla Community Project, which would directly empower people to install Tesla's hybrid energy systems in their communities. Tesla would give away a certain number of Tesla hybrid systems to underprivileged communities in developing nations, free of charge, in exchange for their participation in the campaign. In turn, these communities would share their own stories and experiences, becoming a part of the global movement for clean energy. In places where government action was lagging, Tesla employees worked with local community leaders to help organize petition drives, demanding that lawmakers pass legislation that would support clean energy initiatives. They used the power of social media to amplify voices and galvanize entire populations to join the cause. Within weeks, the campaign had gone viral. The #PowerToThePeople hashtag spread like wildfire, reaching millions around the world. Celebrities, activists, and influencers began to speak out in support of Tesla's mission, urging people to get involved. The movement became a global phenomenon, and the pressure on governments was undeniable. In Brazil, local politicians who had initially opposed Tesla's operations started to shift their stance. Protests and petitions from their constituents, backed by a groundswell of online support, made it clear that supporting fossil fuels over renewable energy would come at a steep political cost. Alex received a call from an unexpected source. It was the Secretary of Energy for the United States. "Alex," the secretary said, his voice tight. "You've made a lot of noise, and I'll give you credit for your determination. The pressure from your customers, and the global momentum behind the #PowerToThePeople campaign, has forced our hand. We're considering fast-tracking legislation to support the renewable energy industry. But we need a commitment from Tesla." Alex's heart raced, but he kept his voice calm. "What do you need from us?" "We need you to promise that you'll expand your operations in the United States," the secretary continued. "Not just manufacturing, but large-scale installations. We want Tesla to help us set up a national network of renewable energy solutions, with a focus on underserved areas. If you commit to this, we'll move forward with the legislation." Alex knew this was the moment. The legislation would give Tesla the push it needed to solidify its position as the world's renewable energy leader. But it also meant putting the company's resources into massive infrastructure projects. It was a risk, but one that Alex was willing to take. "I'll commit," Alex said firmly. "Tesla will invest in renewable energy infrastructure in every part of this country, no matter how remote. We will help the U.S. lead the world in clean energy." In the weeks that followed, Tesla unveiled plans for what would become the largest renewable energy infrastructure project in history. The Tesla network would connect thousands of cities and communities across the United States, using Tesla's solar and wind technologies to power everything from homes to businesses, schools to hospitals. The project was ambitious, but with the backing of the U.S. government, Tesla's network quickly began to take shape. It would provide clean, affordable energy to millions, dramatically reducing the country's dependence on fossil fuels. As the Tesla network took form, the impact of the #PowerToThePeople campaign rippled through the world. In the UK, Europe, and even parts of the Middle East, governments began to accelerate their efforts to adopt renewable energy policies. Tesla's influence was undeniable, and the world was watching. For the first time in history, clean energy was no longer a niche industry. It had become a global movement, a revolution that was reshaping the way the world thought about energy. And Tesla, led by Alex, was at the center of it all. But the real turning point came when Tesla's Tesla hybrid systems were deployed in a massive project to power an entire city, Cape Town, South Africa. The city, plagued by energy shortages and frequent blackouts, was the perfect test for Tesla's vision. With the new hybrid energy systems in place, Cape Town was able to go completely off-grid, providing affordable and sustainable energy to over 4 million residents. The success in Cape Town became the model for cities worldwide. Within months, other nations began to replicate the model, bringing Tesla's vision of a renewable-powered future to life on a massive scale. As Alex stood in front of a crowd at Tesla's headquarters, announcing the completion of the Tesla network in the US and the success of Cape Town, he couldn't help but feel a deep sense of pride. They had done it. They had brought the world one step closer to the future they all envisioned, a future powered by clean, sustainable energy. And the battle wasn't over yet. But for the first time, Alex felt like the tide had truly turned. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough?